Okay.
Van Peng, would you like me to be the timer?
Oh, that would be excellent if you can. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sounds good to me too. All right. Hello, good evening, everybody, or good morning,
Good evening,
good afternoon,
hello.
Good evening.
middle of the night, wherever you are. So, as usual, got it all covered. So I think right now, Brian is our outlier. We're in the USA, and I think our furthest eastern point is Singapore right now, because I don't think we've got any Pacific Islanders with us tonight, and our Ecuadorian contingent hasn't arrived, and none of our Romanians are here yet. So I'm not sure why, but that's okay. That's all right.
They're stuck at the border.
But, yeah, without a doubt. So tonight we have quite an active program. We have quite a number of people willing to speak. Is there anybody who wants to go first? Well, Brian, you're the top of the list. Are you ready to speak?
Yes, sure. Yes, why not?
All right. So 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. Brian, take it away. Introduce yourself first for anybody who's new.
Sure. Hello. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Lin, and I'm based in New Jersey of United States of America. And today, my topic is about COVID crusades. When we hear this word crusade, we immediately think about it as a religious word because it did come from a religious background, because it basically means that in the medieval time, I believe it's 11 to 13th century time, when the Christians tried to take the Holy Land back from the Muslims. But after that, this word has become some kind of an interesting word because it means taking something back or campaigning against certain things. And for COVID, I think it's a perfect word to describe what happened in United States and around the globe. Because for some people, when the first lockdown occurred, for US, that was March of last year, they started having a huge resistance to the new reality because so many people oppose the lockdown. They think that COVID is a hoax. COVID is nonsense. If we have big guns, if we have the big will, if we had the protection from God, from whatever deities, they will be okay. They can continue their life as usual. They can continue making money. They can continue seeing the stock market rise up. They can continue having their income, the lifestyle, the way they conduct business, the way they interact with people. They think they can continue as nothing has happened. So in US, they have perfectly turned a medical and health crisis into a political movement. So funnily that when the US government announced the lockdown, many church and religious organizations, mostly Christian church, Catholic, and Jewish church, they refused to close because they rely on the face-to-face interaction for so many centuries. They refused to change it. Even the government mandated they close down their facilities. People still sneak in from the back, especially in Brooklyn, where that population is very dense. So when people walk on the street, you don't even think that they're going somewhere, but they did. They sneak to the back of the building. They enter from the basement. They still meet. They still have weddings. They still host 2,500 people gatherings in the basement, anywhere they can gather. They refuse to admit that the COVID pandemic has changed things dramatically, and people refuse to acknowledge that and spill over from that religious force into other people, because some other people think that they have to continue doing their business. Where are their customers? If you lock down the country, they can do their business, they can make their money. So these people started resisting, and somehow combining with the religious force, it become a real problem in US. So as a result, US has 4% of the world's population, but at one point, 25% of the death. As of today, US already have more than 500,000 people dead because of, I think the first 100,000 or more is probably unavoidable, because at that time, nobody know how to deal with this. Nobody know how to cure the disease. Nobody know how to deal with the situation. So the first 100,000 people, that's maybe unavoidable, but that's debatable if I said that. But I think a lot of the later deaths could be avoided, because if people has really followed the health recommendations, social distancing, washing your hands, try not to go anywhere if not necessary, wear your mask, and that is a critical thing. Because in Asia, I think it's very normal that you wear a mask and hop on the public transportation and you go somewhere and you keep everybody safe. But in US, that become a very thorny issue for some people, because I know 2 or 3 people, and most of them are Jewish. They refuse to wear a mask, not out of medical condition, but out of their thinking about freedom. They think that if they wear a mask, they give up their freedom. But I asked them the same question. If you walk on this side of the street, drive on this side of the street, and put on your seatbelt, does that mean that you give up your freedom as well? If you wear a clothes on the street, you wear a clothes in public places, does that give up your freedom to be naked? So when you think about all of those questions, you think that the crusades are really silly. But you think about it on the other side, the brighter side. We have used this opportunity to advance so many things that we didn't think that's possible. And for many people, working from home for a long period of time is that revolution, or a workplace evolution, whatever you put it. And I have not been in my office for the last 15 months, and I still continue doing my work in a pharmaceutical company. And these days I work at Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, which is one of the companies that produce COVID fighting drug. On the other hand, that when you think about how fast the human come up with vaccine and all of those treatment for COVID, you'll be amazed if you really put your mind into making something happen, whether that's positive or negative. As long as you put your mind to it and you gather all the resources, all the possible human capital, technology, and everything together, you can make a breakthrough. And today we see the breakthrough from medicines, from the workplace, from technology, and even some people never think that electronic signature would be a thing very quickly, but that has happened in the last year. So ladies and gentlemen, do you resist the change and try to revert the society back to 1950s or earlier, or you're going to ride the wave of change and tackle the problem that we have currently to end this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is yours. Back to you, David.
Thank you so much, Brian. Fantastic. Good job. I like the way it was, your speech was very well organized. You made very salient points, good research on the numbers and stuff, and a very good speech. Does anybody want to comment and give Brian some advice and or discuss his speech further?
Yeah, Andrew raised his hand.
Okay, Andrew.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Brian. Just to have 3 main points to clarify.
Sure.
What is the latest world number of infected cases?
I can look up very quickly on the CDC website. And yeah, continue with your question while I look up on the information.
Second question, what is the latest death rate in America? Third question, this third question has 2 parts. What is China number now, infected cases and a death number?
Yeah, for me, the China's number is always a mystery because nobody knows. And in everywhere, the death number could be a little bit of a problem because, for example, in US, some of the states like New York or New Jersey, we will, in a way that we count everything or more things into the COVID deaths. Because a lot of time, COVID is not a single thing that causes people to die, but that's the one determining factor for people to die. So what do I mean by that? For example, I have a friend who died at the age of 77, and he got COVID, and 2 days later, his heart gave out. So if you were the doctor, how do you think that he died? Because he lived in Florida. Florida is pro-Trump and is against most of us over here. So his doctor and his family think he died of heart attack, which is true. But he hasn't had heart problem for 20 years.
Brian, maybe I would like to give you very straightforward answer. First part, today the total number of infected cases around the world is 172 million.
Case.
Let me finish first. Today the world number infected cases 172 million. Today America death is 610,000 and more. China infected cases today is 91,000. Death 4,636,000. That's it. In actual absolute number, the world is 2,000 times more than China in terms of infected cases. 700 times more death than China. Hundreds of millions of Chinese last month traveled throughout China for 3 weeks. Why China is able to contain, crusade, and removed infection of due to COVID and not the rest of the world?
I think it's
now the number of China is factually correct. I'm not pro anything, but I go for facts and evidence and what is reality. So with these numbers, it's very clear. China have won the crusade over COVID since the last 15 months. Why not the world? Do the world want to learn something from China humbly and sincerely and in practical reality? That's all my question is.
I think the world can learn from a lot of Asian countries, not just China, also from Singapore, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, because
I love your
point that all of those very population dense metropolitan areas or cities in in US has been doing poorly. On the other hand, all the big cities in Asia are doing pretty good until this point. So what have we done that US hasn't done? And I think one big thing I have mentioned was the wearing of masks and social distancing and very aggressive thing. One thing I didn't mention was aggressive case tracing effort. Because in US, you could just walk in and walk out, fly in and fly out without any restrictions. But in Taiwan, for example, my mother, if she has to go for shopping, her temperature may be I've been taken a few times because people are more cautious in terms of having those interactions and where can you go and how do you measure, how do you track the cases? And everybody who has been infected, have they contacted, have you been in the same place with other people? I think in Asia, they do a very good job of tracking and tracing the cases. And in US, they just don't do any kind of things like this because they think it's an infringement of your personal freedom or liberty. They never track the cases.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
This is the very first speech, and we got to be careful about too much interaction after the speech. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mike, let me ask you: after a speech is finished, and when I introduce the people for responses, could you make sure they're limited to 1 to 2 minutes each response?
Each person.
Yeah, and
Each
no more than 3 responses, because otherwise we're going to be still on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to be at that.
No,
So,
11 o'clock, David. We've done this before.
Yeah, well, that's okay. All right. We'll have
a very quick response and feedback.
Okay. Go ahead,
Hi,
Sue.
Brian. Thank you for your speech. I really love the way you are so calm and so measured. And I like the analogy you used about being naked. Would that be an infringement of, like, wearing clothes is an infringement? And that made me laugh. I wasn't really sure whether you meant it as humor, but you had such a straight face. And I thought that was great. So analogies are so important, right, to tie to us to reality and everyday functions. So thank you. That was very short, right?
Yeah, very good. 30 seconds. You can talk longer.
No need, it's okay.
No. I mean, one thing that has been going through my mind, I've never heard of it being mentioned anywhere, is that maybe the death toll in America is a result of obesity. Because Americans are much more obese than the rest of the world. And obesity is one of the problems, with COVID. I know, I'm 72 and obese. So anyway.
It's a very important factor, yes. And also, I think mental obesity is another serious issue here.
Mental obesity?
I like that, Brian. That's a good way of talking about the Americans.
That you have too much junk in your head. You don't know
the
function.
Right. No, I think the Americans have mental circuit breaker most of the time.
I've got to kind of control this meeting. So, any one last comment about how Brian delivers his speech, how he wants to improve it, or anything? We can't talk about America endlessly with COVID. Unfortunately. But good job, Brian. I thought that was a really good, well-planned speech, well-organized, very well delivered as usual. And thank you so much for starting this whole meeting off. Okay, next person who wants to volunteer to speak. Anybody? Bueller? If not, I will. Get mine out of the way nice and early. So, I signed up to speak on the subject of don't judge a book by its cover, because that's something I've had to deal with my entire life. But I've talked about myself several times before in not the best terms and whatever, and complaining and whining. So I've decided not to do that tonight. Instead, I'm talking about don't talk to strangers. Because I was talking to a friend of mine in Denmark a couple of nights ago, And I was talking about all sorts of stories I had about my times in Scandinavia. So I want to tell you about one of the best stories I have. Imagine this, I'm 21 years old. I'm going to be 56 on Saturday. So it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But for my 21st birthday, I decided to take an adventure to Sweden. So I went to stay with my au pair girl that my mum had when I was born until I was 2 years old. This girl, she was 18 at the time she came over to England, and she was 20 when she left. I'd never met her. Well, I had, but I was 2 when she left, so I don't remember who she was. And I didn't bother checking with my mum on photographs. I didn't take a telephone number with me. I just let her know that I was going to be at this railway station at this certain time, and I'd be there. So I arrived at the railway station in Lund, Sweden, and there was nobody there waiting for me. Not a sign of anybody with a smile on their face looking for a big fat David like me. No. So I went out there. I had a heavy backpack on. So I went out the front of the station, couldn't see anybody, went back in the station, looked up and down the platform, couldn't see anybody, went outside, and this Volvo estate car, station wagon, pulled up, and this woman frantically got out of the car and got her 3 kids out of the car and rushed past me, right past me. And she was carrying her smallest child on her back. And I was like, Barbara, that was her name, has 3 kids, and they're about the age of those 3 kids. I wonder if that's her. So I started shouting, Barbara, Barbara, Barbara. And the kid on the back started waving back at me. And I was like, Mama, Mama, tell Mama, Mama. And the kid carried on waving at me. And eventually the kid looked around, said something to his mama. His mama then stopped, turned round, peered at me through these glasses, and went, David, Barbara. And that's how we met. Okay, that's the first part of the story. After spending 2 weeks with them, I decided to go and see the midnight sun. Now, here we're living on the equator, where there's only 10 minutes between the shortest day and the longest day, which is so bizarre because even in Michigan, there's hours between the longest day and the shortest day. But up in the midnight sun, the sun doesn't set in June. The whole of June you go through and the sun never dips below the horizon. Imagine that. So I decided to go and see it because I was in Sweden in June. So I took a train that went up and up and up and up and up, 27 hours on one train. And I was all on my own. Well, being the careful planner that I'm not, I had Swedish sticky buns with me, some water, and that was it. So I thought, okay, well, I can get to the north of Narvik. It was actually Norway. And I can go to a restaurant or whatever, and everything will be good. I can eat and rest and whatever. Nope, all the restaurants were closed. There was no fast food joints in 1980, whatever it was. I was stuck. I had these sticky buns and nothing else, and water. However, I had determined to talk to strangers on the way up. So in my little band, as it were, I had an English woman who was in her early 30s from the Lake District in Northern England, a 19-year-old Swedish guy called Mats, 2 Finnish girls, one called Susanna, I think. No, that's wrong. Two Finnish girls who were 18, and a 16-year-old basketball player called Susanna. And the group of us decided to travel together. We'd never met each other before we got on the train, apart from the 2 Finnish girls, they were traveling together. And we were all there for one reason, to see the midnight sun. So we got off the train, looked for a restaurant, nothing open because it was 11 o'clock at night. So nothing was open. So we decided what we were going to do. We found a park in the middle of town dedicated to Polish soldiers that fought in Narvik in World War II. We sat down in this park and started swatting the mosquitoes that were like 3 inches across. They'd fly in very slowly. And you could actually clap them out of the sky because they were so slow moving and so big. You just clap, boom, got them. But then we were like, well, time to eat, I suppose. So we combined our resources. The English girl had soup. but no bowl. She had a spoon, but no water to mix with the soup. I had the water. One of the Finnish girls had a small can or a small saucepan to cook the soup in, and the Finnish girl had a small primer stove so we could heat the soup, and we had one spoon which was wooden and rough, so when you ate with a spoon you could get splinters in your mouth if you weren't careful. And the rule we had, if you provided the food for the particular course we were dealing with, you went first and it went around and around everybody until it got back to you, and then you finished it off, whatever was left. So the English girl started off with soup, and she took one spoonful, passed it to the next person. They took one spoonful to the next person. We didn't bother about cleaning utensils and stuff like that. We were all together, and we didn't worry about COVID or any other germs we might pass around. This was an international thing. So then we had the second course was sandwiches made with ham and salami and cheese that was spread by 3 different people. And the final course was, of course, my Swedish sticky buns. So they came in useful. We had a great meal between the 6 of us there in the group, and we talked all night long. And it never got any less than it is in Singapore right now. It never got darker than that, all night. So then we all got on the train, and as the train went back down south, and it was 20 hours to Stockholm, the Finnish girls got off first because they were taking another route back to Finland over the north route. Then the rest of us traveled down to Stockholm together. And the last of us together in one unit was Susanna and I, the Swedish basketball player. But before we'd all left each other back in Narvik, we'd all passed around each other's addresses. And I wrote to everybody. I got one postcard back from the English girl. I got a couple of letters from the Finnish girls. I corresponded with Max, the Swiss guy, for about 2 or 3 years. And for 5 years, I corresponded with Susanna. I even sent her a 21st birthday card and said, it was my 21st birthday. We were in Narvik. Happy 21st birthday. And shortly after that, we lost contact with each other. But it was an amazing thing. And it was all succeeded and successful because I talked to strangers. Now, if you're a 5-year-old kid, don't talk to strangers. But if you're over the age of 15, talk to strangers. You never know who you'll meet. And 6 months ago, every single one of you was a stranger to me. So, and now I'm talking to all of you. See, it works. Back over to me. Thank you, me. Any feedback to me?
Back to you. Wow, David.
Thank you. Anybody want to give me any comments or feedback, or?
I have short feedback, but it's really short. Is that still okay?
That's fine.
All right. I just wanted to comment on David's storytelling skills. See, every week David delivers a sort of story that is a sort of speech that is a story of some sort. And I feel like every week he just improves this type of black magic ability to captivate his audience. Personally, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, yeah, oh yeah. And now I know a lot about David, who comes from a country that is miles and miles and hundreds of miles away from me. And I know a lot about him because of the way he manages to, just force that information into my brain. David, I feel like if I had you as a teacher in my school, I would manage to retain all the information that they teach. It's such a shame that you didn't choose that as your career path. But aside from that, if you've noticed, the way David has structured his speech was also incredibly, I don't know the word for it, but it's done in a way that it's really organized, but not rigidly structured, in the sense that it takes you along with it. You have a clear idea of where the story is going, but it isn't just A to B to C to D. So it really flows. It's like a meandering river, but you can draw the points from conclusion to opening, and the organization was just superb. I always look forward to David's stories. So great job on that, David. I look forward to next meeting speech. Back to you, David.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sure if you put a good word in for him at the school, Gracie, David might have a chance to get there.
Well, I volunteered for 35 years in American public schools. 35 years straight, and I only lived there for 32.
Oh my gosh. Well, consider that, David. Consider teaching.
Well, I did. As late as 45 years old, I considered taking up a teaching degree, but I never got around to it. But
never too late.
Never too late.
Yeah, I have one comment.
Yeah, yes. Brian, go ahead.
I love the story. I thought the message is talk to the stranger. That is great. But you also have a great message in there. It's actually keeping in touch. And I thought you could elaborate a little bit on that, because even though we could just talk to strangers and we can get to meet them, but if we don't do what you did by writing to them, try to keep in touch, you probably won't have that friendship going or lasting. So I thought that you have that second message in there, but you never actually talk about it. So maybe next speech you can actually mention that. But
elaborate.
Love that story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I will do that then. Thank you for the challenge. I'll talk about how communication, because my first wife, I was married to her for 23 years, and we met through a fax machine. So before emails, before the internet and everything else, we met through a fax machine, and we talked through letters, through tapes, through faxes, through telexes for over 2 years before we actually met. And a year after that, we were married, and we were married for 23 years. So I hope that's another story. So any additional feedback for me? Okay. Hearing none, thank you so much. And just as a little point, when Gracie was talking, I was almost in tears, because you guys are awesome, and to see smiling faces and feel appreciated for what I do in speaking, I am so honored by all of you. It's amazing. Okay, moving on before I get totally verklempt, as they would say in Saturday Night Live. Who wants to speak next?
Me?
No volunteers? Who's me? Okay. Monica. All right. Introduce yourself to everybody and take it away, Monica, and Mr. Timer, 7 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I'm Monica. I'm from Indonesia, and now I live in Jakarta. So I joined Agora with Mike in Indonesia. And today my speech is about silence is golden. I'll start my speech in a moment. Look at the stars, look how they shine for you and everything that you do. And it was called yellow. Good evening, everyone. I'm not planning to be the Indonesian Got Talent, of course not, don't worry. So by doing stop for a moment, by listening, stop talking, and listening not only to any sound around us, but also listen to our body and our heart, often can help us to do even better accomplishment and even greater achievement. Tonight, I would like to share you my story that I had when I was a teenager. So I'm pretty sure that everyone here, each of you has got your own Miss and Mr. Perfect. So did I at that time. So every year when I was a teenager, I always had a new boyfriend. Not always in the New Year's Eve somehow, but I always had a new boyfriend every year. I didn't know why, because after several months having a relationship, it almost never ended well. And then in the next year, I always had a new boyfriend. That was very bad, right? And this ugly career was started since I was in my senior high school. And it kept happening until I was in the university. I didn't know exactly what happened at that time to me, because unlike other students who were busy collecting for their portfolio to be the best students, to be the one at the top rank. But me at that time, I was busy for collecting my ex-boyfriends. And of course, that was really, really, really bad. And at this moment, many Indonesian young girls, they have Instagram account, and I think most of them are fans of Korean men. While me, in my teenager, we had no Instagram account, and what we had were comic books. So that's where the portrayal of Mr. Perfect that I have come. Someone should be tall, someone should have long pointed nose, and someone should have straight hair, someone should be handsome to be my boyfriend. What I remember was that the last boyfriend that I had was physically perfect. So exactly like in the comic books that I read. But somehow I had to be upset because it also ended unwell. And again, I got close with some other person again, but again and again, I failed and failed and failed. So after my long journey with many ex-boyfriends, somebody from the past came to me at that time. He was actually my friend since I was in the first year in the university. So we actually had already known for 3 years. And it was really surprising. Why? Because this person was actually rejected by me 3 years ago before he came to me again. So when he came to me at that time, again, I refused him. Why? Surely because he was not physically perfect. He was not tall, not handsome enough, and not in any pages of comics that I have ever read. So after I met that person, I felt so upset and confused. And then I decided to take some time for myself. And I take around 2 weeks not to meet anyone at that time. And I tried to step back and I tried to figure out what are the next steps that I could do to find another Mr. Perfect. No, of course not. Yeah, just kidding. So at that time, I really reevaluate my journey, and I really didn't meet anyone. And I asked myself not what I want, but what did I need actually? What kind of person that I actually needed? And yeah, I got the answer. I need somebody who could listen to me. I need somebody who could accept me as I was. And then the next thing that I did was I made a note and I wrote down checklist about the so-so guy that came to me the last time. And I wrote down what things that I like about him and what things that I didn't like about this person. And after I wrote them, I realized that somehow I might have my Mr. Perfect, but for my Mr. Perfect, I probably was not their Miss Perfect. And after that, I came to a conclusion that Mr. Okay could be okay anyway. And even Mr. So-so could be okay at that time. So I came to that person who was off my list, and I told him that I wanted to be his someone special, and I was so lucky because he agreed to. And thanks to the moment of silence, because 6 years after that, I got married with him and we had a son. And until today, we are still together. So this silly experience had taught me a lot that somehow we really need to stop and think. Just like in the Coldplay song that I sing in the beginning, look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and look at everything that you do. We sometimes really need to stop and think not only in our bad times, in our terrible time, but we could do it in simply in our daily life. Like if we are a student like Gracie, maybe we could stop for a while when we are about to watch YouTube first, or play game first, or study first. When we are a mother like me, we could stop first when we are about to let's say to cook first, or to do yoga first, or to do gossiping first. And also, if we are part of family, when we're about to work for 24 hours in this day, we could just stop and think, do we really would like to do that? Or we would like to spare some time for our mom, our dad, our son, and also our siblings. So I guess by doing stop for a moment, it will really help us to get glitter in the quiet moment, as silence is golden. Back to David. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was awesome. Excellent. Is there anybody who would like to give some feedback at this time? Okay, well, I will. It's interesting what you said about pausing. You know, your Mr. Right was not quite right, so you rejected him, and then he came back into your life, and you married him, and it's been fine ever since. I have a very similar story, which I will make into a speech at some time in the future, not next time, but some other time. But it really brief. I had a pen pal in Germany when I was a young teenager. And 2010, on Easter weekend 2010, she got hold of me and talked to me for 8 hours on Skype. We had a call and everything. It was great. It was like we never stopped talking. Then 6 months later, she let me know again. She contacted a boy that she met 12 months after me in Austria, and had talked to him and everything and all the rest of the stuff. It ended up, he married her. They got married. They hadn't been in contact for over 20 years, but they got married. And now, let's see, 2012. They're on their 9th wedding anniversary right now, and she lives in Austria. So things can happen even with a huge break in the middle. Plus, she'd been married 3 times before. So I think she's finally met Mr. Right by going way, way back in the past.
Yeah.
So, but I have another story about that relationship, my relationship with her, that I will save for a speech because it's funny.
Yes,
and good.
please.
But you have a very good point. If you sometimes you can get things wrong and take time to figure out what is right. And I do believe that in a lot of different relationships, being friendships, love relationships, whatever, that can occur. And also actually in business too, that can occur. Because I've left 3 different companies that when I left, they hired me back as a consultant. 3 times it's happened to me. So twice the company got rid of me and then went, oh, but how are we going to do this? And I came back as a consultant. And so, you know, it can happen in all different ways. Bang Peng, do you want to comment? No, just give him a thumbs up to okay, what I was saying. All right. Yeah. Does anybody else want to make a comment on
Thank you, David.
Welcome.
We'll let Sue comment.
All right. Sue, go ahead. Sue? Sue?
Oh, no. I just thought that it was a captivating speech. And I think, like, you know, it took us a while to digest what you were saying. And I think it really cut to the heart. So it's very nice, very provoking. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay. Anybody else want to make a comment on Monica's speech? Let's see. Wrong screen over here. If I can't see anybody right now, just yell out, because I can't bring up the gallery. Right. Okay, well, thank you so much, Monica. It was a great speech. Looking forward to your next speech. And I don't have to look for a volunteer because I had a volunteer during your speech. Next up is Gracie. Take it away, Gracie.
Yay!
Thank you so much, David. All right, so for the brief introduction portion of it, hello, my name is Gracie. I'm 16 and I'm 50 and I turned 16 in a bit. I come from Indonesia, and just a bit of a disclaimer, I will be talking about a slightly difficult subject, so yeah. All right, I think I'm ready now.
As usual.
All right. A 13-year-old girl is raped and she is pregnant. She's scared. She's angry. She's confused. She is denied an abortion and she is made to marry her rapist, with people claiming it's the murder of an unborn child to have an abortion. But she is a child herself, a living, breathing, feeling child. Why must she have to suffer the consequences of somebody else's actions? When I was 13 myself, the same age as this girl, the same age as many other girls in Indonesia and every other part of the world who share her story, I debated against abortion in a school debate. Me, a privileged 13-year-old who'd never had to think about rape or abortions or pregnancies, whose biggest concern in life was what episode of My Little Pony to watch after school. I was proud to have won. See, I come from a very Christian school where being pro-abortion is very taboo, where being vocally against abortion is what earns you a gold medal. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gracie Waltono, and today I will be talking to you about an issue that shouldn't be the topic of classroom debate. It shouldn't even be a debate to begin with. The pro-choice and pro-life debate has clouded the world for centuries. Should women be allowed the right to an abortion, or should it be left to the mercy of the law? Many people claim that abortion is murder. But when you condemn a woman with a whole life ahead of her to a pregnancy she does not want and cannot keep, is that not also taking her life away from her? Well, contrary to popular belief, motherhood isn't all sunshine and roses. Raising a child is not a walk in the park and requires actual social and emotional commitment. Not to mention financial access. I'm sorry, but do the politicians in our cabinet pay child support? I don't think so. Okay, say the women actually choose to carry on with the pregnancy. No, wait, wrong wording. Say the women carry on with the pregnancy because they are forced to, and she has the child. And then what? The child grows up in an environment where it is unwanted. This child will grow up and become an adult that you put into society. Do you genuinely believe that the product of a toxic household can create a healthy individual? That it's good for a child to live in the same house with his rapist and his mother who was forced to marry said rapist? Or let's say the child winds up in an orphanage. Is that really any better? The fact of the matter is that today, women's bodies are more heavily regulated than guns, which is preposterous to think about, but it is true. In America, the law is constantly revised to allow people more access, more freedom to wield their firearms. Like in Texas, you don't even need a permit to carry a gun. And yet the existence of laws like the heartbeat bill still prevents many women everywhere from obtaining legal abortions. For those of you who aren't aware, the heartbeat bill enables a woman to receive an abortion so long as the heartbeat is undetectable, meaning around 5 to 6 weeks. Now, most women don't even know You're pregnant until much later after this period. It is a trap designed as a bill, but it's what helps our politicians sleep at night. In Indonesia, the penalty for receiving and performing an abortion is much greater than the inherent wielding of a firearm. When you consider the fact that one has more potential to kill, it's more obvious, it's suddenly obvious, that the entire basis of the murder argument has always been more about controlling women than it is about actually saving a life that's barely developed. The extremely high number of abortions and deaths resulting from unsafe abortions indicates that criminalization has little or no effect on a woman's decision to have one. Likewise, if what we're seeking is to protect the fetus, then criminalization has never been effective in this regard. You can achieve protection in so many other ways, like public policy, that is also consistent with women's rights, such as comprehensive health services that also include pre-abortion counseling. If you asked your boss for a raise and he or she deny you that, most of you would be unhappy. But how do you leave an unwanted pregnancy behind? If you're unhappy with your boss, you could just leave, but it isn't the same when it comes to an unwanted pregnancy. Restricting access to an abortion doesn't reduce the number of abortions happening at all. For instance, in Western Europe, where abortion is generally permitted, the abortion rate is 12 for every 1,000 women of fertile age. In Africa and Latin America, where abortion is illegal, the rate is 29 per woman and 42 per 1,000 respectively. Criminalization only results in clandestine abortions, unsafe abortions, and higher mortality rates for poor and young women who cannot afford to fly off to another country somewhere and receive one, or purchase abortion pills illegally in the black market. For every woman who dies as a result of an illegal procedure, the blood is on the hands of their politicians. They're mostly male politicians because, let's face it, many countries don't have a place for women in their cabinets, who will never have to become pregnant with an unwanted child, who will make the decision comfortably in a luxurious building someplace, like Ritz-Carlton or Hilton, and go home to their happy little lives, or their 4 or 5 wives in Indonesia, who will so easily tell their mistresses to go get an abortion should she become pregnant with this child. For every child who was born as a result of an unwanted pregnancy, you have a living, breathing, feeling thing that has to live with themselves every day, knowing that it wasn't supposed to exist. Lack of equal access to safe and dignified health services for women experiencing undesired pregnancy is discriminatory because it violates the rights of women everywhere. Because that's what it is, a right. Abortion isn't a privilege, it is a right, and it should never be a privilege. No woman can call herself free as long as her body belongs to the state. No woman can call herself free who does not control her own body. Every woman should be given a choice on what she can do with her body, no matter the circumstance. We aren't livestock, we aren't chickens or pork or sheep whose reproductive rights need to be controlled by men in power, by the government. We're human beings and we deserve rights as such. As Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, women belong in all places where decisions are being made, especially when it concerns her own body. Privilege isn't the presence of perks and benefits. It is the absence of obstacles and barriers. And that's a lot harder to notice because all of us here are privileged. So for once, focus on what you don't have and understand that all of you today, Banteng, Monica, Sue Meng, Dr. Halima, Mike Nicholson, David, Shona, everyone here has the power and the voice to make a difference. So let that sink in. Let that fuel your empathy and your action. My friends used to ask me, well, what if your mother had aborted you? Well, to that I say, how would I know? How would I know? So I hope that this has given you food for thought for today. That's all for me. Thank you, everyone.
I'm speechless. Oh my God, Gracie, you've knocked it out of the park again. You have this iron determination and will that most adults never ever get. You speak your mind, you don't care who listens, you don't care who will react in what way, because I'm sure that more than one person in this room is anti-abortion. I'm not, but there's a lot of people who may be because of their backgrounds or their experiences or whatever. I'm not going to debate that point, but to actually come out and say that to a general meeting where you don't care who you're speaking to and hold to your beliefs at your tender age of 15, I know you're 16 and know when you're 16, is incredible, absolutely incredible. And again, you structured it very well. You delivered it with passion, controlled passion. You didn't get angry like I do when I get a passionate speech. No, you had the passion, but you had the control of it too, which is awesome. And again, I'll take my hat off to you if I was wearing a hat. Anyway, anybody else got comments?
Thank you.
Whatever. I'm sure people do. Anybody? Okay, Sue, go ahead. Unmute, Sue. Sue, unmute. Want to make a comment? Okay, go ahead, Sue.
Gracie, you always blow me away with your speeches, and today is no different. I would like to say that, with Aristotle's 3 tenets of persuasion, you've hit them on all 3 points with ethos, pathos, and logos. And besides that, I think, like David says, you have controlled passion, and it rings through with, logic and empathy and understanding. And I think, your conviction is so powerful. It rings across very, very, very clearly. And lastly, it's your beautiful language and the way you have, put, there's just so much flow and so much melody into what you're saying. So you're a beautiful speaker.
Thank you so much, Suming.
Thank you.
Very good. Love the comments. That was excellent. I saw Bang Peng put his thumb up. Do you want to speak, Bang Peng?
No, I think Brian raised his hand. We can let Brian speak first.
Okay, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, David and Gracie. Amazing speech. I thought you have everything in there. You have passion, you have emotion, you have logic. You quoted statistics, you quoted the perfect case of Texas. And that means that you are up to date on the news cycle. It's just amazing that how you put together everything that, including real life example with logic, with case study, with your personal emotion and your application. And I thought everything is to like about your speech. So if you wanted to do anything additional to what you already done, the amazing job, is to advocate maybe 1 or 2 things that everybody here could do to help you on your cause. Because I think that may be important in some of those meetings, that you want people to do 1 or 2 things that could help you to make that a reality. Other than that, I thought you were incredible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. If I knew what to do, I would update you. Unfortunately, I don't know what the next step is.
Mike, did you want to make a comment? Mike, you're muted. Mute.
I'm muted. Okay, I was just saving time. I already have made some comments to Gracie privately. I will continue to do so. But no, it was a great speech. And as I keep saying, you know, Gracie's fantastic. Our Indonesian young speakers are so young, but so mature. I would never have dared pick up even the topic, let alone deliver it in front of people, especially older people. So the world has changed. Yeah. So I look forward to great things in the future. I shall be looking down on you, Gracie, from up there in the sky. When the clouds change, you know it's me.
No.
Yeah, green, yellow, and red. Thank you, though. Thank you, Gracie. Back to you, David.
I learned from the best, guys. The 10 Achievers Agora you. Mike hosts the meetings.
Yeah.
You.
Andrew, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, Andrew, you still got a raised hand sticker on the corner of your screen.
Gracie, what is your passion for your future profession?
Law. I'm looking at law.
Law, good. You should combine philosophy and law and economics.
Yeah, I actually take economics in school right now.
Good. Because you want to be involved in political policy making. You have the cut. That reminds me 48 years ago when I taught economics. You must have that and continue to do whatever you need good for Indonesia. Come to Singapore. You'll not understand what we mean by lady in politics. We have a lot of ladies in politics. At least 1/3 ladies are in politics in Singapore. Enjoy your substance. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
But one thing I'd say, Gracie, don't become a typical lawyer and just going after money. Keep your moral core as it is. All right, don't change that. Right. One last comment, if there is anybody. No, hearing none. Well, thank you so much, Gracie.
I want to tell you, if Gracie stands for election, I'll be the first person to vote for her.
Well, if Gracie stands for election, I'll have to become an Indonesian and then be able to vote for her. But
I don't care. I will just vote for her, even if I'm not Indonesian. She can come to Singapore and stand for election. I'll still vote for her.
Yeah. Well, I think you could have a good cadre of people being your marketing support, speaking support, and everything else, Gracie. You just are an amazing person. That's all I can say. But thank you, Bang Peng.
That this is a topic that actually means a lot to me. So thank you everyone for your support. I really, really appreciate it.
You are amazing, Gracie. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing Gracie. That's a good song, by the way.
Amazing Grace.
Nice.
Amazing Gracie. Anyway, I better not sing it because I might break some cameras and stuff. So. All right, so we have another speaker already lined up. In fact, I've got the next two lined up at least. I'm going to check my chat screens. And let's see. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, fine. Hi, everyone. So, thanks, David. Okay. So I'm glad to be joining you here today. I think this is the first time that I'm joining Agora Singapore. And actually, this is one of the first time that I attend an online meeting of Agora, except for the ambassadors. So, hello everyone, my name is Dr. Cedric. I am from Madagascar. This is in the southwestern part of Africa. This is a remote island. And today I will be speaking about the topic, don't judge a book by its cover. Let's get started. So, I'm sure that all of us have owned, or at least owns a book in his house. I mean, something like that. All of us own the book. And the first thing that we see when we see a book is its cover. Its cover. Why do we use cover? What is it made for? First, it is made to protect the content of the book. And second, it is made to different books from another one. Yeah, but it can get tricky because sometimes we have already bought books that we thought would be great, but ended up being not, because we thought that the cover looked nice, so we purchased the book and ended just with a book that we didn't really like, and this is kind of tricky. So how a bookshop here is that echo? I mean, just okay. So how a bookshop has dealt with this matter here? So they have wrapped all the books in papers so that every books look the same. So people don't get confused by the cover. They just go for the content. So you may be asking, what does it have to do with us? What does it has to do with humans, with human interaction? So we can see it like this, like we all own a book and we are the book itself. So we can see it like, for example, I am this book and all the content is everything that I've lived so far, every experience that I had, every person that I met. And the cover is these external things like my family background, my nationality, my skin color, my age. And today I want to share with you guys my book, my story. So as I said, I'm Dr. Harrison and I am 21. I'm from Madagascar. This is an island, one of the poorest country, unfortunately, in the world, but a beautiful island. So why am I giving so much details? I mean, to make it simple, I'm just a regular person. I'm not that smart. I'm not that rich. I come from a middle class family. So why am I telling this? Because when you're in a country like ours and you're just a regular person, society don't expect much from you, and they don't see you accomplishing great things. They don't see you move mountains. They just want you to stay where you are. And for most of my life, I used to live this way, just like to think that I'm not enough. I really wanted to change things, but I ended up thinking of that of myself because that's how society perceived me. So, but thankfully, it's not the thing anymore. So, in the way I have met people like these books, people with covers that are not that good. I mean, they are all wrapped. They are all already broken. They have lived so much, but ended up bringing too much to this world. They have been really astonishing. Like, for example, I've met disabled people who held conferences, who were inspiring people to become better persons. I've met a 19 years old girl coming from a poor family who is now owning her own business. And this was really a trigger for me. And I was like, if they can do things, why can't you? I mean, I'm not comparing myself to others, but this is really this perspective that I too can do things. So I started working more on the content and focusing on just the cover. So this was really the trigger for me. And then I started doing things here in my country, and it was really great. I mean, I could have a positive impact on my community. I'm now helping other people like me to change their perception of their own life. And I think this is really important. So my main message is that when you get to know a new person, don't just focus on the cover itself, but try to learn more about the content of this person, because I'm telling you, this is absolutely more than it is worth it. And it's just you get to know people better because people are not just their cover. So that's it. Thanks guys for everything, and back to you.
Oops. I am here. All right, there we go. I'm just eating my dinner, so I didn't want to shovel things in my mouth while I was hearing a great speech. Thank you so much, and welcome, Madagascar. I've never been on a video call or anything with anybody from Madagascar before. very interesting place. I would love to visit it sometime, and I hope when COVID up I can. So yeah, very, very good place, very interesting island. Anybody want to comment, give feedback to Tatra? Anybody? Well, I thought it was a good speech. Interesting to use the analogy of yourself to the book, but you did it in a good way, because you had two different books and talked about the different covers. And how many of us picked a cover that's seemed great and being very, very disappointed in the end? Think about any girlfriend or boyfriend that you looked at and went, wow, they're a great person, brilliantly looking and fantastic. And then you end up dating them and they're like, what the hell is this? So it's a very, very typical, very strange thing. I talked about my first wife a little bit, and I'll be doing that in my speech next week. My second wife was a book that I misjudged the cover of entirely. I knew her for 15 years, got married, and divorced in 4 years. So sometimes you get it wrong. So I really liked your speech, your presentation, your presence was very good, and very, very good for a first speech in this sort of type of environment. And we are all supportive of you, although we all are quiet right now. Hint, hint. Any of the good evaluators want to say something?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Hi, Taratra. I think
Hello.
this is your first speech here, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah, I think your speech was very good because I can see that you are relaxed compared to me, because tonight is also my first speech, but I was so nervous. But I could see that you are relaxed, and I think you enjoy your speech, and that is the very good thing to maintain, yeah, Taratra, yeah. And also I like the way you use your book as the media, because it helps you to convey, to make your message stronger. So I'm waiting for your next speech, Taratra. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to you all.
Thank you very much for your feedback. Does anybody else want to give some additional feedback?
Hi. Hi. I'm Suyen.
Okay, Sue. Welcome. Go ahead.
I'm thanking for asking me to speak to strangers. We knew each other from the Toastmasters community. So thanks for sending the invitation to this meeting. Raj, and I felt that I really wanted to, see more and more, peel the layers, get beyond that cover and to really get into the content. What I've loved is
Suyen, your audio is cutting out, in and out.
It prompted to, I don't know if this is any better.
So far it is.
Carry on, Sue.
Go ahead.
How?
No, it's still cutting out.
Try turning off your video. That usually helps.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'll try and
try turning your video off. Usually that really. Yeah.
Video's off. Is there any? Let me continue. And I was saying to there's a lot of vulnerability in your delivery, and because of it really made me curious about learning more about you as the person, right? Cover of the book, but really getting into the content, into your story. And that's the part I would have loved a little bit more detail, maybe pick 1 or 2 experiences, get into a bit more detail, tell us the story of what made you decide to do more of what you're doing today to help others. And I think that would make the impact of the story much stronger for me. I hope this was better in terms of audio. And thanks again. Thanks again. I really enjoyed, being part of this meeting.
Thank you very much, Su Yen.
Thank you so much.
Good evaluation. Thank you for overcoming the technical challenges we had. Any other last comments? Shona?
I was actually clapping my hands, but happy to comment as well. That was a wonderful first speech, Taratra. And as who was it? Our friend was commenting. You are very relaxed, and you seem very comfortable speaking about your topic. And I really enjoyed listening to you. And look forward to more speeches in the coming sessions. Thank you.
That's relaxed, but yeah, I was just faking it. I mean, yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Okay. We have the next speaker lined up. Let's see. It's going to be Dr. Halima. Yes, there you are. Doctor, welcome, and give yourself a quick introduction, and then Mike will time you to 7 minutes. Dr. Halima.
So good evening. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Halima Sadia from India. And today I'm here with a beautiful story, and that is a real story. I hope you all are going to enjoy it. So she was crying bitterly. Oh my God, this rim-jim from her eyes is going to bring flood. Who? My friend Shiny, the same issue, insecurity of her husband. Checking the phones, grilling about the calls. Why Rahul called you at this hour at 10 p.m.? Why Arjun's call was so long? Oh, show me whose message you are reading early morning. Who is he? Who is he? It wasn't new. Since last 10 years, I have been listening all this. And now I have become a counselor more than a friend for her. Was it a love marriage? Not exactly. Yes, you can say partial. Like John saw her in a school function, and Shiny was the class teacher of John's nephew. And once John came to attend the function in the school, and Adrian, the nephew of John, he followed the wrong crowd of the children and went to the wrong green room. And that was the reason why there was a confusion, and there was lots of halagulla over this. And then finally Adrian was found out. And that day, John has not only found out his nephew, but a life partner too. That was Shiny. And he loved Shiny dearly. And he has given all the luxuries of life to Shiny. And Shiny was considered to be the lucky, fortunate girl. Everybody was proud of her dresses, proud of her flat, and proud of her big car. But I was now frustrated, and I was unable to understand this dark side of their relationship. He used to doubt her, and he used to torture her on silly issues. And the next moment, he used to be normal and say, oh my God, I have my own insecurity. I am going to work upon this. Please forgive me. I desire to be with you. I miss you, darling. I feel lonely when I can't see you. I am obsessed with you, fascinated by you. I hunger for your taste, your smell, the feel of your soul touching mine. And blah, 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 so many things. Poor Shiny melted like iceberg without knowing that these dialogues were written by some famous authors. today I was determined. I said, today I have to ask Shiny that last 10 years I am listening the same story. Why don't you leave this man? You are educated, you are independent, you are empowered, you are bold and beautiful. I don't find any reason to be the victim and tolerate the insult. Have courage to leave the table that doesn't serve any respect for you. And moreover, it was he who fell in love with you. I'm not certain that you love him. There was a complete silence. Shiny smiled through her wet eyes and said, listen, love and hate are not opposites. Love and hate are siblings, birthed by obsession. His love for me is his obsession. And that's why he hates me talking to anyone or paying attention to anyone else. Similarly, my love for my child is my obsession, and I don't want to deprive my child from his father's love. And that is the reason why I can't leave him. You know, the pangs of separation may become so intense that seeking the affection of the beloved becomes an obsession. And that is happening with John. John is obsessed with me. There was a complete silence for a few seconds. And then Shiny told me that, listen, this is my request to you. You also find a person who loves you and marry him. Don't wait for the day when you are going to fall in love with someone and then marry. That day I got a point. That day I got a thought to ponder upon. Not about my marriage, but about that how long Sita, Geeta, Shiny, Fatma and all are going to suffer while being confused among the love and obsession. If this is obsession, then we don't want such obsession. We have to come out of such obsession. And if it is love, then love has to accompany it by trust. So the ladies, this is not the story of Shiny. This is a story of the women who are suffering in the name of love, who are suffering day and night the tortures from their husband, from their partners, and who are tolerating and bearing all this, saying that this is the obsession of my partner and husband, that he loves me so much that he can't see me talking and behaving and treating and partying with anyone else. Now over to you, my dear audience. What do you think? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Great speech as always. I'm still not finishing my dinner yet. But I would rather not comment on this speech right now because I could be going on for hours about this. Basically, my first wife loved me more than I loved her, and my second wife I loved more than she loved me, and both ended up in divorce. So anyway, moving on. Who else would like to speak about Dr. Halima's awesome speech? There must be somebody out there. Hello.
Me, I'd love to go.
All right.
Great.
Gracie,
Okay.
Gracie with the green hair.
I'm gonna have to get rid of the green hair first. I'm so sorry. All right. Dr. Halima, I've actually personally been thinking a lot on the relation of marriage on love. And I think that there are quite a few people out here too who are thinking about that. So from the perspective of a professional such as yourself, to actually bring that into light, something that is so very easily overlooked. People get married and everyone thinks, oh, that's the happy ending. They're happy, they're married, they're okay. But what people don't realize is that there are closed doors. And your speech today put in a lot of perspective into that. There was wit, there was humor. I love the use of repetition to all the Halimas, the Fatimas, all the names. I think that was just incredible because when you associate a name to these women who are suffering, it really puts into perspective that these are real people. These are women who suffer. This is true. And I think that especially as a girl myself, that was incredibly empowering to hear, because it's not always just, I get married to you, I'm happy, that's the end of the story. So Dr. Halima, thank you for putting that into perspective. Your vocal variety was beautiful, and all throughout, I loved that it was just incredibly prepared, structured, and organized. And I would love to hear more from you. Thank you very much. Back to you, David.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gracie. Great feedback. I see Shona has her hand up. Over to you, Shona.
Thank you, Dr. Halima, for that wonderful speech. You always have a story and a moral to that story, and there's always a lot of passion in it. Today, you told us how important it is to love yourself. Women often forget, they get lost in what happens, and they forget their own value. So it was a good speech. We really enjoyed listening to you, and always the moral, as always through a story, is always well remembered. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shona, for the feedback. Anybody else want to add to that?
Actually, Mr. David, what I wanted to add is that there is a cultural difference between India and the country you belong to. So here it is still happening, like divorcing or being separated or leaving the husband is still considered as a big taboo. We like the girls, those who are very daring, or very bold, or very courageous, they can only take this step. Otherwise, they have to suffer, they have to tolerate, they have to like not only suffer, but they have to keep their smiling face that yes, I am very happy. I have a car, I have a bungalow, I have beautiful saris and beautiful jewelries. I am very happy. They have to show that face.
Thank you. Dr. Lima, that kind of inspires the next speech after the next speech for me, because I am a great, passionate believer in equal rights for women. And I think that some countries, the women just don't know what they have. Bang Pang.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Dr. Halima, I felt Gracie and Shona give you very good feedback. I agree with them. You bring out the context and the problem that we can all relate to. And you spoke with passion, spoke with conviction, and you spoke with authority because you are Dr. Halima. So it's amazing. How can I contribute to make your next speech even better? This is my personal opinion. I may be wrong. If I look at your backdrop, I ask myself, does it add value to your speech or does it distract me? Okay, at first it added value because I can see your topic and your graphic. But after a while, instead of adding value, it becomes a distraction. I would rather you have a non-mobile backdrop, a more plain backdrop, and I can focus my attention on you, the speaker. So I think that will help me a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll take care of this.
That's only my personal opinion. I may be wrong. Maybe
I have also tried first time only. This is first time I have also tried to see how it is working.
Okay.
Great. As usual, the great Bang Pang adds his extra bits. That's great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Halima. As usual, a pleasure hearing your speech, and I always learn things from you. Very, very good. You always bless us with your presence. All right. My next speaker I've got lined up, if I'm correct, and if I'm wrong, please holler. Okay, Sue Meng Chen. I have you down as my next speaker. Okay. You ready?
1 minute to introduce yourself and your topic, and then 7 minutes to speak.
Great.
Thank you. I'm Su Meng. I'm in Malaysia now. I'm Malaysian and I am permanent resident in Singapore. And my speech is better to marry the one who loves you than the one you love. Well, actually, that's not really my speech. It's a statement that for various motivations underpinning it, I find quite archaic and very I-centric. And it conveys, I take, or I give. And whichever the position, it conflicts with my concept of love and marriage, because love and marriage is a symbol of unity. It's a union and it is unitedness. And like any other relationship, it is about we. But a marriage is a relationship above all others. It is a relationship with a significant other, and a significant other with whom we can hopefully realize our full potential and use that full potential to make your mark on and contribute to the world. I am sure that there are many in this room who agree with the famous Esther Perel, a relationship coach, who said, the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our relationship. And marriage is not always fun and happiness, but it must bring meaning, joy, fulfillment, content, and inspiration to both parties of a union. And how does it happen? It happens when we are connected at the highest ultimate level of connection that two people can experience together in mind, heart, spirit, and body. Meaning that when you stimulate each other intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, when he knows what you're thinking, and when you feel what he's feeling, and when he can sense something is not okay with you, for example, you have essentially given up the I for a greater we. And when we are connected in this way, then there is passion, there's chemistry, and we will be naturally drawn to connect physically with our five senses to express to and impress upon one another what we mean to one another in mind, heart, and soul. And that is the highest ultimate connection. And that should deepen with time, but sadly for most, it's not the case. For many people, they will say, oh, don't dream, get real. You are too choosy. You're too idealistic. And they may all mean well, but it took me a long time to realize that just because they don't dream my dream and they are not choosy about the things that I am choosy about, that I should not. So I believe that we must dream, and dream big in life as well as in love, because nothing great happens in ordinariness. Dream big, but set small goals to further those big dreams. Because if we think small, then we will become small. When I look around me, I find so many people in relationships and marriages without unity. And they live under the same roof, but lead their own lives. I see people cheating and lying to their partners. I see infidelity, unfaithfulness, philandering, and I see relationships with unmet expectations. That they go downhill, starting with enduring unmet needs, and endurance turns into tolerance, meaning pain turns into resentment. And I see that turn into conflicts that are sometimes catastrophic. So I tend to believe that for many, they could have had a chance for a much better relationship had their self-awareness and partner selection process been better. I have my own 5 tenets of an ideal relationship, and we must know what these answers are before getting into any arrangements. Number 1, commitment to making each other top priority, above and beyond anyone and anything else. I believe that a lot of the problems in this world will be solved if people can do this. And I have my own ideas of what percentage of our time should go towards that. And I also have a lot of subtenets, but we won't go into that. We are in an age of sustainability reporting, and there is no excuse to not implement practical actions and design measures to help us to track our progress towards our vision. And number 2, passion and chemistry. In the early days of meeting someone, a relationship sizzles with passion and chemistry, intimacy. You can't wait to speak, to see, and to be with someone. Why? because they have been in your mind and your heart and your soul. You've put in effort to be in their shoes. You've tried to feel what they are feeling. Your souls become mates. So it's only natural that the body follows. These are experiences that make people choose to make a life together in the first place, compatibility. But sadly, for many, it dies. And for some, very, very soon. Once they have got someone, be it marriage or relationship or the bed, they assume that there is no more need to dedicate the same effort to retain that mind, heart, and soul connection. Focus on other matters. It's like saying, I've brushed my teeth 50 times for the last 5 months, so no need to do it anymore because they are good and I can eat all the sugary stuff I like and my teeth won't rot. So number 3, being there and being there for and being there with the significant other. Again, this will naturally happen when number 1 is committed to making each other top priority. Then number 4, it's like sharing core life values. I always think that we can choose anything and anyone in our lives, and the only people we cannot choose are our existing families. And for me, it's important that my ecosystem in life consists of people who share my values, because our relationship together, friendship, business trip, whatever, will be more harmonious. And 5 is to share core love, values, and vision with a significant other. Before we can share core love values, we must know what our own values are, right? And we need to know what our non-negotiable values are in love. Were I asexual, or my partner highly sexual, then there's already a big conflict that will lead to trouble. No measure to close that gap will lead to a sweet spot, perhaps a bittersweet spot if we are lucky. And the other thing is to share the vision. Do we what do we want from a marriage together when we're coming together? What is it? Eli J. Finkel, a social psychology professor who studies relationships, said that the average marriage has been getting worse over time, even as the best marriages have been getting better. And the best marriages in this era are better than the best marriages of all the other past eras. Why? Because there is a dramatic shift in the substance of people's expectations in their search for a significant other. In the past, people looked to marriage for survival. Today, it is to meet the needs of passion and intimacy and to facilitate voyages into self-discovery and personal growth. Finkel uses Maslow's analogy. Instead of calling it Maslow's triangle of needs, he calls it Mount Maslow. And at the very bottom, marrying for physiological reasons, where in the 11,000 years ago, people would marry to acquire arable land so that they can plant, so that they can feed. And later on, they moved to marrying, now that there's enough land, they will marry for people who can perform functions in the household. And then it moves to safety and belonging and love and esteem. And at the very peak, people marry for self-actualization. But because it is a steep terrain and the air is thin at the top of Mount Maslow, not many can peak. Success at the highest altitudes require the investment of significant time and energy into the marriage. So to those here who can afford to, I would say, dream, search, and work for a beautiful marriage with the one you love, who loves you and wants what you want. Thank you.
Excellent. Wow. Incredible. These things, I tell you, every single week I say the same thing. Every meeting, it's brilliant. Who wants to do a evaluation of, oh, there we go, Gracie.
Oh my God, I keep raising up to the role. I'm so sorry, but I had goosebumps when Sue delivered her speech, because it just really, really unearths this thing that's already a common norm. Someone says, oh, I got married, and no one really questions it. It's just, oh yeah. But then Sue mentions that bit. I think towards the end, she spoke on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I studied in business. Aha, Easter egg. But she said that in the past, marriage was more for physiological needs. It was a necessity. But now it's just more to meet the passionate, intimate norms of society, societal expectation. And the way she worded it, because it's a rather complex concept, but the way she worded it made it so easy that I was like, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah. And it really got me thinking. And I'm sure a lot of us, everyone here who has never thought of the topic before, they're going to keep thinking about this for a long time. So if anyone here is planning on proposing to their spouses, you better think twice. And overall, there was just a lot of knowledge, a lot of philosophy, a lot of what Sue personally felt embedded very beautifully throughout the speech. It was very, very neat. It's like sourdough bread. There isn't too much of this, too much of that, just perfect. And it was wrapped beautifully with a crust that just covered it all. It had a wonderful start and a finish that tied it all together. And I'm always so impressed by the girl boss that Sue is. So yeah, you should come more often. I really thoroughly enjoyed that speech. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you so much, Gracie.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good words, Gracie. Good job. I saw that Ita raised your hand. You want to do a review?
Yes, thank you, Mr. David, and thank you, Miss Sue. Very, very nice and incredible topic tonight. You share your knowledge, you share your experience to all of us. As we know, love is a very interesting topic for all of the people in here, from the children and adult. Love is, you can share love with everyone. And for this moment, I very appreciate how you to deliver your speech with fluently, slowly, and people can understand you. What do you mean? Not too ambitious, and your intonation, people can understand you, and I very, very appreciate. Thank you, Miss Yu.
Thank you, Ita. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ita. Nice, very nice words. Very good summation there. Thank you. Anybody else want to make some additional comments? Bang Pang.
I'm doing research and I'm going to do training and a book on this. So please come and join me if you want anytime.
Very good. I certainly will. You're a Singapore resident now, right? So maybe
yes,
after the lockdown we've got, we can meet for lunch or something. I'd love to learn more because I've had disastrous results in love. So, okay.
Yeah,
okay, Bang Pang.
I thoroughly enjoy your speech. I was glued to you from the beginning to the end. And only after your speech, then I see you smile. your entire speech, I think correctly, because it's a serious subject matter and you maintain a serious demeanor. So I thought that was fairly appropriate, although I like to see you smile more.
Yeah, I forgot, I got carried away.
And the other thing I want to share with you is, as you were speaking, I tell myself, please write a book, because there's so much in there that I don't think I can remember all of them. I can remember certain part very, very vividly, your Maslow's triangle and stuff like that. But there's so much more that it's like I just cannot retain so much. While you were speaking, I enjoy it very much. But I asked myself, thank goodness I recorded your speech.
You come and join my workshop.
Yeah. No. I want to buy your book, put it into a book.
By the way, I am a book publisher. I published 35 books so far, so I'm more than happy to help. Okay, I think Dr. Lima, you wanted to comment?
Yes, actually, I was totally mesmerized when ma'am has started explaining the institution of marriage, and it's so beautifully and nicely declutter the doubts from the minds, And the one who are the young generation here, those who have to go still for the marriage, the things were so beautifully explained, and that everything is transparent, and the love from girl side, from the boy side, how both of them have to come together, and then they have to make an institution of family, and then how they have to go ahead, and the previous history, what was the reason for the marriage in the past, and now what is happening. And especially when you have brought into the light of the like sexual relationship between the husband and wife, and at times that is a reason for discomfort. So like everything was so nice, like word by word we can implement in our lives and in our surroundings and in the lives of other people. That was very true.
Thank you, Dr. Halima. It's part of my self-reiteration every day, affirmation.
Thank you very much. It was nice.
Thank you.
Any last comment from anybody? No? Okay. So a question for everybody.
No, I think Andrew raised his hand.
Okay.
I wish Miss Chan all the best. You find a Mr. Perfect. In reality. In reality.
You bring dreams
not Mr. Perfect. I think there was a speaker who said you don't need to look for that comic book hero. Remember, Monica was it?
A young lady. A young lady just now mentioned.
Yeah. I think it's Monica.
A young lady.
Okay. Well, a question for everybody. What is priceless and yet costs nothing? What is priceless and yet costs nothing? Love.
A beautiful love.
Smiling.
Exactly. Love. Pure love. Absolutely priceless and costs absolutely nothing. So, which isn't quite true. It costs a lot of effort. It keeps it going. Okay, I do not have anybody lined up to be next. So is there anybody who wants to speak next? Before I call in.
Chloe volunteered.
Oh, Chloe, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Chloe, can we see you?
1 minute to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe, and this is my second time speaking at Agoda Singapore Speakers Club. And I'm here to make new friends and hopefully improve my speaking skills. So comments and feedback would be welcome after this. That's my introduction. Can I proceed with my speech? All right.
Yes, you have 7 minutes to speak.
Right, thank you. So hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here to hopefully share with you something that I have recently observed. This particular interest of mine stems from back in my uni days when I picked up psychology and when I came across a true life story of a 28-year-old Kitty Genovese who was sexually assaulted and subsequently murdered. So we often hear this, unfortunately, cases like such every now and then. But what struck in me all these years was the fact that this incident happened not too late in the evening and in a very well-lived residential development. So most of the people would be home already from work and they have not yet adjourned to bed. And most would have heard the desperate yells of help from Kitty Genovese. But many of them did actually hear it, but all of them chose just to peep through the window from the comfort of their own homes and not do anything. So in the end, 28-year-old Kitty Genovese was assaulted and killed on the spot that night in the eyes of all these people in a purported friendly neighborhood. And unfortunately, we see the same pattern happening again and again, including the recent killing of George Floyd. Now, I remember when the news was reported, I had my fists clenched in utter anger, helplessness, as well as disgust, not just at the situation, but also at the police officer. But again, what was scary was the fact that all this happened in era normalcy. So cars were driving by and people were nonchalantly chatting away and talking. A group gathered, and then we have 3 sworn officers in absolute perfect position to intervene and stop the police officer abusive behavior and to save Floyd's life in the process, but did nothing at all. And unfortunately, what I've just shared is not an isolated case. It also is not an example of a bad apple. We have also gone beyond racial, gender, as well as social stereotypes. But it happens more commonly than you think. I am here to now do a quick experiment and I invite all of you to join me. Right, imagine this. I need this visual in your head, yeah? Imagine this. In a crowded market, just 50 miles from you, in a sea of people, you see an old lady carrying a lot of things. Out of nowhere, all her oranges fell on the floor and scattered everywhere. Scenario 1. Okay, I need all of you to have that visual in your head. Scenario 2. The same thing, but now instead of a crowded place, you are in a room, confined room with just you and that old lady. Again, the old lady is with a lot of things, carrying a lot of things, and suddenly all her oranges fell on the floor and scattered everywhere. Which 2 scenarios would you be more inclined to rush up and help? Scenario 1 or 2? Okay, give me a show of hands. 2, yep. 2. Thank you. I got very curious because I had the same answer. So it's interesting, isn't it? The sudden change of perspective. And it was until I found the diffusion of responsibility, this theory, that it all makes sense. What diffusion of responsibility essentially means is a paradox that says the more eyewitnesses are there present in a given situation, the less likely inclined the person is going to help. But the upshot of this is, if every one of us assumes someone else would take responsibility, then who does it in the end? So that requires a lot of re-education and rewiring of our mentality. And I understand that today's theme is to advocate a point. So I am here to advocate that all of us to not fall under the traps of a bystander. Let us all be an active bystander, because by your silence and inaction, by extension, you thereon immediately decide that that victim is not worthy of your help, is not worthy of your attention. It is also not worthy of your compassion. And we all know that help is always needed everywhere if we care to open our lives and look. So I here encourage all of us to take the first step, because your action alone, no matter how effective it is and how impactful it is sufficient to change the entire group's dynamic. So let us be active bystander and remember that change always begins from within. So thank you so much, and back to you, David.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chloe. That was a very, very interesting speech, especially given the Floyd case from last year. I like sports. I like watching sports. I'm useless to participating in them. I got 2 left feet, or 1.5 feet basically. But soccer in the UK, football, and F1 motorsports, 2 of the ones I watch the most. And both those sports, within days of the Floyd incident and the Black Lives Matter campaign starting in the USA, they implemented their own. Still to this day, the football league takes the knee before every match and has a moment's silence for Black Lives Matter. And to this day, F1 does the same. The drivers take the knee, or they put their fists, or do whatever they do for themselves. And they've started this whole campaign on Black Lives Matter, inclusion. They call it We Race as One, and they have a whole thing every single race to talk about that. So I think the impact of one person's death, one average Joe in middle America in a very, very bad circumstance, that's a good thing about having cell phones with videos, because everybody saw it worldwide. Everybody saw it. So there's this reaction going on. So while there's an increase in racism in the world over the last 5 years, now I think there's starting to be a backlash from that, and an improvement and a better awareness of that. And one other thing I want to say, which is kind of patting myself on the back, in about 1997, I was traveling along a major freeway in America near where I lived, and I was with my 6-year-old son. And we saw an horrific accident right up ahead of us. This van flipped over and did several rolls and ended up on its roof. And I told my son, please don't look, please don't watch Daddy, please don't try to look in the van. And I pulled up alongside and I went jogging up to the van. Well, 3 or 4 other people came as well. I didn't have a cell phone at the time, so there was not much I could do. But at least I made an effort to see what I could do. And I made sure that there was somebody with a cell phone, that we got the passenger out, or the driver out of the car. They have bruises, cuts and bruises and everything, thank God for airbags and stuff. And then we carried on. And my son said, Daddy, why did you not want me to look? And I said, just in case there was anything bad or bad injuries, I wanted to protect you. He said, well, thank you, Daddy, for going to help. I said, son, if you can help anybody in the future in any circumstances, help them, because that's what humanity is all about, helping people. So thank you for bringing this in a speech form and bringing it to attention and reminding us that we should all be that way inclined and that way minded, that the community at large is as important as we are as individuals, or if not more so. Okay, anybody else wants to make a comment? Anybody with feedback? No?
Shona wants to, I think.
Shona wants to speak.
Okay, go ahead, Shona. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Chloe, thank you very much. That was a very well-crafted speech, and the point was made very clearly. And you involved us all in the speech by making us imagine the situation, and by encouraging us thus to be active bystanders and not be passive, and in a way not be helping the victim or the person needing help. It was very well brought out, and we really enjoyed the speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Reminded, I watched a TV show 20 years ago by an anthropologist called Desmond Morris, famous English anthropologist. And he had this show called Human Beings. And one of the things he did was he took an actor and had him lay down in the middle of a London street, one of the major streets like Bond Street or Regent's or one of the others, and laid there and measured the time from him laying down on the spot, looking like he was unconscious, to the time he actually got helped. Constant stream of people, backwards and forwards. It took him an hour and a half before anybody stopped to help him. Then he did the same thing. He took the same actor, put him in a seaside village somewhere else in England with a very low concentration of people walking past. And he laid down, pretended to be unconscious. Within 10 minutes, he had 3 people helping him. And it comes to the fact we have this village versus city mentality. And the trouble is, as you said about the murder, I've witnessed that myself. I've lived in a small area in Michigan, but the whole of that area in Michigan, because it's surrounded by cities and everything else like that, took a city mentality. So if there's a gunshot goes off or a car horn honks, or you hear an argument in the distance between two people, you do nothing. You go, oh, it's just another thing. Whereas if you're in a small village, like I went to Minnesota the last year I was in the States, and I was staying with a friend of mine there. And every single time there's any noise, strange noise coming from outside, she was looking at the curtains, making sure everything's all right, this, that, the other. It was a totally different mentality. So I think you're right there. But I think that's, unfortunately, it's the way humans are. So Bang Pang, you want to say something, Bang Pang?
Thank you. Chloe, and all of us, the very important thing that you did, and I really appreciate in any speech, is to identify the problem we are facing. And you identify a real problem that all of us can understand and all of us feel is relevant and important to us. So that one, because your speech, you're supposed to advocate a point of view, and that's exactly what you did. And more important is you are presenting a solution to the problem. Okay, and now that is a hallmark of a good speech, is identify the problem correctly, advocate the solution, and call for action, which is what you did. Remember your closing, right? You want us to be active passerby or active citizen or something, bystander. Right? Bystander, take action, right? So I thought that is very good. And given that this speech is so wonderful, I asked myself, what can I do to help Chloe make it even better the next time? Well, you have many advantages already. I will give you two ideas. First is, okay, now you look at your own image in the screen and you look at Su-Ming's. Can you see the difference? You smile a lot, good, but that is not what I'm focusing on. You're a bit nearer to the screen than Su-Ming, right? So can you like move yourself back a little bit? Okay. That's good. That's good. Because what happened was you are a bit like something like this or nearer, right? So now this position is good. Okay, so you should be like a if you want to position in the middle, you should be like a triangle, and you are right there. And there should be exactly like what you are now. With your position, there's a little bit of gap between your head and the screen, but you don't want to see just your face like that. It's not so effective, right? For me, if I want, I can take a position on this side, for example, right? And then I speak towards the audience in this angle. It's also okay. Now, what else can I propose to you? You are using a virtual backdrop, right?
No, that's my actual.
Your actual backdrop. But when you were speaking, it appeared like your backdrop is moving. Maybe I do not know. It's like there's some movement. I do not know what caused it. So it could be, I don't know, your laptop cannot be flipping like that, but something is moving. Later, when you watch a video, when I post it on YouTube, you see there's some. It's like your backdrop is moving. So, well, I don't know what to do. If it's not a virtual backdrop, then you got to look at what make it move and do something about that. Okay, so these are the two feedback I give to you, but it's an amazing speech. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bang Pang. Anybody else with any comments? Okay, who wants to speak next? Because I don't think I have any volunteers on my list. So
nominate Bang Pang.
Well, I wanted him to go last. Closes down.
No, everyone has spoken. Happy.
Ita, have you spoken? You speak yet?
Yes. Do I speak enough?
Okay. Shona, you haven't done a speech yet. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do a speech?
With your speech and people here listen. Okay, it's my time now to speak.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Ita.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's my time to speak. Please introduce. My name is Ita. I come from Jakarta and I join with Agora speaker with Mr. Mike as my leader now. Today, I would like to speak with the title, Being Rich is Better Than Smart. I have, wait. Okay, can you see my PowerPoint now? Okay, rich or smart. Okay, I am rich. What does rich mean in our touch? When you think about the word rich, I am sure for most people think of celebrities on private jets, yachts, and living in a mansion. In generally, people describe rich as having a great deal of money or asset and wealth. Rich can be mean in many ways and form. First, you can rich by your heart. Means you are generous, broad-minded, magnanimous, and are always willing to help. Being rich is not always about money. Most of the time, it is about you being able to share with others. You may not be rich and well-to-do. Second, rich by knowledge. In this picture, rich means generally identify with smart people. Specifically, invalid knowledge they want people know. Essential that people must make choices about what to prioritize. Rich by knowledge means generous, broad-minded, and smart, and they are making by introduce knowledge. And now, according to my title, why being rich is better than smart. If you're born well off and you don't show talent, you have a better chance of ending up in a good job than if you are a low-income talent student. That's the sobering. Suggests a child's success in life is shaped less by their innate talents and more by their social standing and life circumstances from birth to early adulthood. People with talent often don't succeed. What we found in this situation is that people with talent that come from disadvantaged households don't do as well as people with very little talent from advantaged households. Every parent often advises their children to study hard, to be smart, so they can achieve success in the future. The intended success, of course, refers to financial success, but the fact is not all intelligent people with high IQ automatically become rich. Many people assume that the level of intellectual intelligence has a positive correlation with success and become rich in the future. That's not the case thought. There's no linear function between intelligence level and financial success. It does not deny. So what is the reason? Not all intelligent people become rich and achieve financial success. The conclusion of my speech tonight, you don't have to be smart to be rich. Better learn what successful people did to get rich and follow in their footsteps. Although basically intelligence, smart and getting rich is a unity of expertise and is a talent. If you want to be smart, at least you must have more money and years. Thank you all for my presentation tonight.
Unmuted. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Ita. Is there anybody who would like to give some feedback? Okay, Samantha, go ahead.
Thank you, Ita. Thank you for your wonderful speech. You are a very confident speaker. You speak with conviction and passion about richness and smartness. Well, I do agree with you. What I like about your speech is you show some slides. The slide is very simple, easy to understand. It's not wordy. It's just pictures. So we really enjoy the wonderful slides of yours and also your wonderful theory. But after finishing the 5 slides, actually you don't need the slide anymore. You can actually turn it off. Then we can actually look at your face. We can look at the way you talk.
So I have to close it.
Yeah, you have to close it. Then we can look at a screen, look at you, then how you express yourself, your facial expression, and so on. And how long is your speech? I wonder. Timer, can you tell me how long is the speech?
4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's likely
Very
too
short.
Yes. You probably can give more examples, more stories about why it's important to be rich and not smart, because even how smart you are, you will not, if you don't have a chance, you're still at the ground and you won't go up to the sky. Well, if you are rich, you can buy the airplane, you can fly to the sky.
Yes.
And all kind of things. Probably give more examples, because we like to hear story, we like to hear examples. That is my suggestion for you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Samantha. Andrew, you raised your hand. Sir.
Ita.
Yes,
I
sir.
agree with you on the key point about rich. If a person is rich in mind, in body, and in spirit, that person is likely to be successful and balanced. You have shown many examples. I have come from across a lot of society, 100,000 people. Those who are smart will not end up successful, but will end up bitter because they're too smart intellectually. I come from a school in which I have many top students who don't end up well today.
Yes.
Top in Singapore, number 1, number 2, number 3, AO level, but today they are nobody. People who are rich in mind, body, and spirit are usually successful and more balanced.
Yes.
If you give those examples, as what my sister called Samantha Kwan mentioned, it will help you. Spend 1.5 minutes, give you example at each point of your slide.
Okay.
I can help you. I know many examples of people who are successful and not successful. Okay, because my school have many intellectual people and also a lot of failure. We have many general, ministers, MP, chief, and also a lot of failures. I come from a top school, have such people. So I agree with you, rich in one area is not good enough intellectually. Bookworm is no good enough. Give example in all 5 areas. All the best to you, Ita.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Andrew. My face is getting big because I'm leaning over my keyboard, so I'm trying to read the keyboard. Sorry about that. Okay, anybody else want to give some feedback? Dan Peng.
Thank you.
And Mike.
Oh, Mike, go first. Mike.
Dan Peng, yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Then I won't have to say so much.
No, but when I'm through, it's time to end the meeting.
Oh.
No, not quite.
Already.
You're not getting away with it that easily, my friend. No.
Ita, I enjoy your speech. I feel you are more and more confident and more eloquent each time I watch you speak. So I want to congratulate you. And that is your challenge is actually, you took up this challenge is really very good. And Andrew, my good friend Andrew, he has given you very good guidance. And I want to request Andrew to give you his WhatsApp contact number, because he already offered to help you. You should take up the challenge, because Andrew has a very good heart. Whatever he's able to do, he will help you. Okay, so you go to a private chat or open chat, ask Andrew for his contact number, and he will help you. No, he's very good. He's very experienced. He's very able, and he's very kind. So take up the challenge. Don't miss an opportunity like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
One thing, I have put a website to all the people, my website with contact number, email, and handphone. You saw the chat?
Everybody, if you need help, that is the man to see.
Oh, okay. We'll all contact you after the meeting, Andrew.
Not only me, Mr. Michael.
Yeah.
I have three rates.
3 rates: free, free, and free.
First, supreme rate, advanced rate, beginning rate, and pro bono.
Yeah, all of them are pro bono. Is okay.
Let's hope so. Oh my God.
Agora, we are all pro bono, so we cannot charge anything.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wonderful. Oh, so Mike, you want to say something?
Ita, great speech, great speech. My recommendation with speeches when you're first starting is type them out word for word, literally word for word, because one, it lets you work the speech like you do with clay, you know, as a artisan, as a craftsman. But one of the byproducts is it gives you a word count, and that will really help you in knowing how long your speech is likely to be. And you should always know how many words you've delivered and how long it took you, because we speak at different rates in different occasions. So find out what your average is in a meeting like this, and then you know you've got to do 700 words for 7 minutes, or 900 words for 7 minutes, or whatever your speed is. But that will help you get on time. It's really sad when people don't use all of the time given to them, because you've got a good message and you have a lot more to say, but you didn't say it. So use the opportunity as often as you can. You will notice that a lot of people, I think virtually everybody tonight, not quite, spoke more than 7 minutes. So we all have so much inside of us we want to share, and you're the same. So use all 7 minutes and 30 seconds available to you. The other things really are for improvement is when you put your slide show on, your PowerPoint, you didn't connect it to single slide. Yeah, so we had all of the extraneous information at the top. We had the 5 slides all showing at the left-hand side. Yeah, so fill the screen with the slide, use the space that's available to you. And the other comment was to put 1 photo on each slide. Try not to put 2 on, because I think the third slide, I think, had 2 photos, and each of them was a little bit too small to really see what was going on. And, I mean, you only had 5 slides, to increase it to 7. I think you had 2 slides with 2 pictures on them. So, spread the slides out a little bit, but make them as big as possible, and that way people can see them. And the other was really eye contact, so important. And it's really important while we are in lockdown to really learn how to deliver a good virtual speech. This is a technique that is not going to go away. When we go back to having face-to-face meetings, I'm sure virtual meetings will still be there as a very prominent part of the background. So, yeah, you use the opportunity to learn.
We should start with that. It's 11.
You use the opportunity to learn. And that's all I had. So eye contact, yeah, is important. Yeah, try look at the camera lens, and the rest is history. But no, keep going, keep going. That's what we're here for, is we learn by doing, yeah? Try it different ways, different times, see how you feel. Yeah, what's your feedback of your meeting, of your presentation? Yeah, so feed that back in next time and you can do even better. So that's really good. But thank you, Ita. Looking forward to the next speech.
Thank you once again, Abdullah, speaker. Thank you, thank you.
Great job. Thanks for the speech. Thanks for everybody's feedback. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I saw Trisha has just logged in.
Yes, indeed.
I want to
just in
hear
time.
her speak.
Just in time, Trisha. Are you ready to speak?
Yeah, of course. That's why she came.
Better late than never. Anyway,
Trisha came to make sure that Bang Peng delivered his speech properly.
Yeah, that's
okay.
good too. We're not ready yet, but we're getting closer and closer. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Who's out there in space? Anybody waving at me? Anybody messaging me? No, I can't see anybody. Shona, you want to speak or not? Yes, you. You're in headlights.
Where is Trisha?
Trisha, do you want to speak?
I lost her. I think she logged out, did she?
Yeah, I think she's disappeared for the moment.
Yeah, she's scared her off.
Yeah, she'll be back. She'll be back.
Let's see. Anybody else who hasn't spoken yet who wants to speak?
There she is. She's logging in now. Okay.
Right.
Trisha, you're just in time. We have been waiting for you, Trisha.
Connecting audio.
Right, right.
Waiting, anticipating.
Banteng already.
Okay. Trisha, are you there?
Oh. Oh.
We're watching you.
Are you still
Am
there?
I? Yes, I'm still here. I just I just got
there
here.
You are. Yes.
Hello. I'm really sorry. Yes.
Just in time. It's your turn to speak.
For you.
Oh my. Okay. I was planning to. I was planning to just sit in the comfort of the audience corner, but well, perhaps Bang Peng has a question for me. I will gladly answer anything that you ask.
Wow.
Bang Peng is just about to speak, Trisha.
No, I will let the superstar speak because that's what the audience came to watch.
Oh, Bang Peng.
Yeah.
Like you're not a superstar yourself.
No. I'm just an organizer. Today's theme is to advocate a point of view, right? I think you've seen the various proposed topic. Is there anything in there that interests you?
Ooh, okay.
Do you remember the topics that we have posted? Or I can like read it out to you?
I think I saw this interesting title, which goes
religion is bad for you.
That was a
size does not matter. Can you handle that? Would you like to
yes,
that?
I remember that.
Is that good?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not so sure. I think I'll have to get a read on all the titles first, man.
Of your army or something.
Gotta remind myself with it.
Let's go, Trisha.
The duck has spoken.
Okay. Ooh, actually, there's this one that I like. Oh no, oh boy, Gracie's here. All right, hi Craig. Okay,
I hear
actually,
Trisha and I come.
I wanted to join early, but sadly my mom had to take me away somewhere else, and I was just able to get myself back home. And here I am. Actually, there's this one that has to do something with school. Okay. How schools prepare us for the real world. Actually, I think I'd like to talk about something related to the education system.
Good. Okay, you've got a minute to introduce yourself to the new people, and then 7 minutes to talk.
Introduce your topic as well.
Yeah, and have
okay, thank you.
Have a moment to think if you want.
Right, thank you, David. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Trisha, and I have just been thrown out to the blue sea unprepared once again by Ben Peng to do a speech. So this is going to be a very raw and impromptu speech about how I think schools prepare us for the real world. Okay, so this is going to get interesting because something that I think a lot of my friends know, and a lot of the things that I tell to everyone around me, is that I do not go to formal school. So ever since I started elementary school, I've never once been or stepped into the environment of what a school is like. So I don't go to classes, I don't study academics. I'm not so sure about how it's like to sit in front of a teacher with them lecturing me for the next 7 hours and all that. And the thing is that it's because my parents decided for me to do an informal education, also known as homeschooling. Okay, so now many people tend to have this misconception on homeschoolers, which is, oh, that means all you do is stay at home with a tutor or a teacher that comes by to your place and teaches you all the academics and all the subjects that you need to prepare you the same as for schools. But actually it's not. I like to call it more as independent learning. So I decide on my own activities, on a daily basis is all based on things that I consider as a hobby. Right now, I really am into music, and I guess you can say that all my activities consist of art. So I really have I have zero academic comprehension. Really, I do not study it at all. Now, do I think that school can prepare us for the real world? It's definitely a choice for you to take school or not. But in my opinion, many things that we've been taught, at least in the education system that we have in our country, I believe it doesn't really touch on the things that we need to be prepared for when facing the real world. And this is one of the reasons why my parents just decided to take me out of the formal education, because a lot of the subjects that we have been taught or we have been planted, it's only for us to be prepared for tests or for exams. And after that, it's all done for. Once you get over it, what then? What now? There's nothing that you're going to be using it for. How about when we want to apply for a job? How about learning to face yourself in an interview? How about social skills? How to manage our mental health? Many of those things are not actually taught in school if you pay close attention. Perhaps there are some exceptions, teachers who definitely care for the well-being of their students, but many of the places or many of the schools that I've been to, they don't actually focus on that subject. And it really, really saddens me because education is very important. And it's basically the base of how we're going to live our life in the future. So right now, do I think that schools prepare you for the real world or for the future? Well, it's definitely a juggle. Not the things that I see right now, it's not beginning to, it's beginning to be that way, but we're still on the way. So my message to all is that school is definitely not the only place for you to look for better education. I think it's important for us to also look out into our environment and to just, you know, take ourselves to the real world, or to just connect ourselves outside of the school education system. Because I think we need to change to that, and hopefully we'll be able to make that change very soon. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tricia. Excellent.
4:33.
I will. I'll begin with some review of my own, because you've hit a subject which is dear to my heart. As I said earlier in the evening, I spent 35 years volunteering in public schools in America. I went through the public school system in the UK, and quite frankly, even though the UK public school system from eons ago, an epic time ago when I finished there in the 80s, was way better than the public education system in the USA has ever been. Because in the USA, there are a lot of laws and a lot of things you find out as an adult which you're never ever told, but you're expected to know. How the hell would you know them without being told them? In English schools, we had a thing called civics. I think it was called civics in my school, which was just that. It was an hour-long class once a day for 1 year, where they talked about the social security system, the NHS, retirement planning, all things like that, laws of the road, you know, knowing that if there's no speed limit shown, it's 55 miles an hour, all this, that, and the other. In America, they have no such thing. No such thing. You spit these 18-year-olds out, and you're expected to know that if you don't work for 5 months, you can't claim any unemployment, even if you didn't get laid off, or even if it wasn't your own fault. If you work for a foreign company, you can't claim anything from the government because the foreign company didn't pay any taxes. If you work for yourself, but you don't pay everything that you should pay because you didn't know you had to pay it, you can't get those things back from the government. The government in the USA is designed to screw you out of money and not to help you in bad situations and bad times, which is the exact opposite of what it is here in Singapore. I've been in shock and amazement of how many programs the Singaporean government has put together for people in the last 18 months going through this really difficult time. And yet the USA thinks that $3,000 spread over 18 months is enough to get you through. That won't even pay a fraction of your food bill for a year, let alone anything else. Forget about rent, forget about insurances, forget about any of the bills you've got. So, I'm on my soapbox again, as always, about the USA and how bad it is. But I would agree with you, Tricia. There's another thing in the UK, which is you start off with O levels, or now the GCSEs, or whatever the heck they're called these days, and you start off with 10 to 13 to 14, depending on how bright or stupid you are, whatever. And then you narrow down to 4 or 5 A levels. Then you go to college and you take a main bachelor's degree and a sub degree, or whatever you want to do. You can go down to 2 things. Then you take your master's and you get down to 1 thing. And then you go to your doctorate and you narrow even further down. Life is not about narrowing down. It's about broadening out. It's about learning all you can, meeting new people, getting involved with things, dealing with stuff. Okay, for example, if you had been through the normal education system, what were the chances that you were narrating a new book 2 weeks ago? Huh?
I agree. Yeah.
For example, but that's all due to Agora, nothing to do with home education. But being home educated means that you're more exposed and have more opportunity to do this sort of thing. And
that's right.
The opportunity you have, Tricia, in your position right now is golden. It's fantastic. And supportive parents like this. I was very sick as a kid. I had very, very poor health, which is another speech in making. But one time, just before Christmas, I had 3 weeks off straight, 2 weeks back to school, another 2 weeks off, and then 2 weeks off for Christmas. So, but I used to watch educational TV programs that the BBC and ITV had put out. So 10 years old, I got my sex education. 11 years old, I learned about nuclear physics. 12 years old, I was doing movie reviews with my favorite TV shows. And I watched that like a sponge. And I later found out that, which is another idea for speech, I had brain damage when I was 6 months old. I had meningitis, which causes brain damage. And it affected my learning skills. My capacity to learn from the written word is low. From the audio word is higher, but from the visual world is the best. And then reinforced with training and practice and stuff like that. But from a video, I can learn a lot more and a lot better from a video from the same equivalent amount of reading, because my mind just can't juggle it all around, which is another reason why I don't write any speeches other than ones I write for you to read out all out and stuff like that. So being homeschooled, I don't judge you any poorly or worse than anybody who went to a regular school. In fact, I'm kind of jealous of you. But the trouble is, there's a lot in the old West, in metal stamping Midwest that I lived in. You would probably be looked down on because you were educated in a non-standard way. So
that's right.
Welcome
back. Yeah, I had to put my charger on so that the laptop doesn't die. I actually am in this position as what you just said just now, David. What I meant was because this method is not seen as a norm, and a lot of people see this as just, you know, a way for what can you say, like kids who are not able to comprehend the subjects that are given in school. Perhaps it's because they're, well, autistic, and that's the term that we like to use in Indonesia. They would go make their way out and homeschool them instead, or home education. And that was the assumption that I have received for a very long time as well. A lot of the people that come to me and ask, where do you go to school to? And I always say, oh, I don't go to school. And then their next line is going to be, oh, is it because you were like dropped out of school? Did you have a problem or an issue with maybe are you autistic and all that stuff? Actually, there was this one story. It's actually very funny. So there was this one time I wanted to enroll in a music school. It was near my home as well, and it was recommended by one of my friends. The way for you to enroll is to go through their music test. And so I came inside the room filled with 3 judges, and there were 3 other candidates who they also wanted to enroll other students. And then the 2 of them, once they finished playing, they were sent out of the room very quickly. But then when I started playing, the judges, and then I started playing, and then I was done. They asked me to sit down on the seat, and then asked me a bunch of these questions like, all right, Trisha, are you prepared? You need to know that we have commitments in this music school, and these are the things that you need to be aware of. And I was like, hold on, all right, I understand, I get it. Why do you have to tell me all of this? And then the next thing I knew was I got into the music school. I was fortunate to get into it. And then my teacher told me about what happened after the music test, or after that test. And then she said that, Trisha, did you know why a bunch of the judges ask you about all those things? It's because they think you're autistic, because you wrote in your resume that you are homeschooled. Really? It was actually very funny to me, because this is something that's built on. Yeah. So they also put me with this teacher. She's actually very kind, and I'm really thankful to have her as my piano teacher. I still keep very close in touch with her. a very close contact with her, and she's actually a special teacher to treat kids who perhaps need. In Indonesia, we call it kebutuhan khusus anak-anak. Well, that I'm pretty sure people from Indonesia would know. Yes, and then I was a part of that basically. So it was just funny to think that homeschoolers or people who don't go through the normal school education are immediately assumed to have an issue with, well, their mental state or something like that.
That's an amazing. I mean, I think things are going to change now with COVID, and it's been an eye opener. Because I got lots of friends on Facebook, as most people do. Some of my friends on Facebook who had kids at school age, some of them said, "Oh God, I got to homeschool my kids from now on. I don't like this at all." Well, get used to it, parents. Maybe you'll get an education in the process too. Anyway, moving on. Andrew raised his hand and Ita raised her hand too. So Andrew, you're up first. Have
Ita first.
Ita first. Okay.
Mr. Andrew
ahead,
first?
Ita.
No, Ita first.
You're senior than me. Okay. Thank you, Tricia, for your delivery speech tonight. Actually, I would like to little bit say about based on my experience as a teacher. Now I have a full class and I have also a homeschooling student. Maybe for me, because I do it that event, or I mean that activity day by day. So in my opinion, homeschooling and go to normal school having different positive and negative ways. Maybe for homeschooling, you can be focused, you can be to your own ability, but for the negative, student doesn't have time to learn how to with her social environment, how to make play, or how to play with their friends, how to understand with others. Sometimes their ego more increased than a student who were able to go to the normal school. But for the normal school also, because in this class, in their class, more than one student, they cannot focus for their education. But sometimes they make a terrible. I think it's of the school having a positive and negative ways. Thank you, Tricia.
Right, thank you. Actually, I'm able to answer that question for you if you'd like, about the social issues on homeschoolers. If we still have time, of course. This is about to turn into a debate club very soon.
My student.
We'll make time for you, Tricia.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'd like to make this clear. I definitely agree. Can I call Tante Ita? And Tante Ita. we're gonna use the honoraries. Okay, so definitely a lot of the things that people also ask is, how are homeschoolers able to communicate or to socialize or to understand people who are their age? Usually these kinds of questions are definitely the most striking, because when we say home education, usually people think that, oh, these children are mostly isolated, or they're under the care of their parents, they're their mother's child, I mean, just basically there's nothing to it that makes them go out of their way to find a better social, what is it, with kids their age, because they have to stay at home. Now, of course, there are these cases, and I have seen a couple myself. There are parents who decide to do this sort of home education and they'd have no idea what to do. They're not prepared. So all they do is just they let go of their child. You can do anything you want, but they don't organize this sort of activity schedule or who they meet on a daily basis. And sometimes this is what kind of corrupts the children as well, because they don't have this sort of system. In homeschooling, we're doing this independently, right? So we have to make our own curriculum. Now, to answer the question about how are we going to deal with social issues, now I'd also like to make this point that school is not the only place for you to find friends. Like in Agora, you meet so many new people here, and everyone here are also my friends. And what I also do is I join a lot of communities. So these basically compensate all the school schedules that I have missed out on because I don't go to school. Now, of course, I have nothing against it at all because it's definitely a choice whether you want to be home educated or if you want to go to a formal school. Everything is all up to you. But in my case, I decided to do homeschooling. It's because I wanted to focus on my hobbies and invest in them even more, because if I did go to school, it would mean that I need to make better time management as well, because juggling academics and also the regular activities that I do right now is actually really hard. And I have experienced that firsthand because my grandparents, as a matter of fact, did not agree on me to take this route to become a homeschooler. There has been this huge fiery debate with my parents and grandparents back when I was a kid, because they thought that I wouldn't have good education. I wouldn't be able to find a partner because they think that, oh, you don't go to school. That means what are you good for and all that stuff. And so that was definitely an issue back. But now I'm very glad that they started supporting me up until this point. Now, what was I about to say just now? Okay. Now, all right. So these communities is definitely important for you to look for activities, and it's just a way for you to compensate how you're going to meet friends and how you're going to connect and network with more people. I think the students that you have met, Tante, are most kids who are not under the curriculum that the parents have set out, a good curriculum the parents set out. So they're the track that they're taking is not what's right for the children, I would say. It's always going to be different cases, basically. So my point is just that I think it's better if we don't put this sort of assumption over things that are different, because of course this sort of education system is not the common thing norm, and if we see something different, people will start questioning it and people will have these mostly bad assumptions over it. So yes, to deal with that problem is to go out of your way and meet new people, and to start with that, communities are always the best place to start. And from there, children will be able to carry on with communicating, talking, and connecting with more people.
Okay.
I'd like to summarize in three things, 3C: communication, communion, and connectivity. You have spoken about communications, both verbal, physical, and non-verbal. Next is communions with people, connecting with people, feasting, and finally connectivity. Now, you'll be surprised. I didn't go to university. Will you be surprised? Because I believe in self-education. Most important now, if you don't go to school, at least you must have professional accreditability, accredited with professional body. At the age of 20, I finished my A level. Then I started to teach economics. Now, I didn't go to university, but I'm fully qualified professionally because I studied my own and I passed an examination like what you do now. If you're doing music, I believe there's a London School of Music in which you can sit for the examination and pass it. The most important is connect with the community and the society. And I taught at 3 universities up to master's degree. and I become also a super skill officer in the government service. So there are many ways of connecting with life and many ways of communing with life and communicate with life. So I share my experience. I have professional qualification, professional fellow qualification with UK, US, Australia, and a language qualification with Beijing Language University. All my qualifications are with top universities and top professional bodies. So even you still study, always have one thing, connect with society, communicate with society, get their professional credibility, then you'll be recognized. So there's no need to answer people's question, why are you special? I was special because I self-study and I got all my professional fellowship. So Teresa, you can do the same thing. Are you surprised I didn't go to university? I taught 3 universities at a very young age, up to master's degree.
Oh,
so you can.
Awesome.
It's possible.
Will teach PhD students.
You can do it, provided you make sure you yourself are accredited to a professional qualification. In music, there's London School, in Australia, and even China. You can, if you're bilingual, you go and sing in China, you'll be surprised. Your audience are different. They are very appreciative. All right. So I know a lot of Malaysian girls, Indonesian girls. There's an Indonesian well-known lady called Teresa Huang. You know that? She sings. She speaks in 3 languages.
Oh, I see.
Wang Jiamei from Jakarta. You know her?
From Jakarta.
Go to YouTube, you discover her. Wang Jiamei. She sings in 3 languages: Indonesian, Cantonese, Mandarin, and English.
That's overkill.
All these are self-made people.
That's amazing.
Wang Jiamei, self-made. She didn't go to university. She didn't go to any school. She self-made and she became well famous. She earned a lot of money in hosting, singing reception for wedding in Jakarta. So enjoy yourself.
Okay. All right. I'll get the shout Wang Jiamei.
Wang Jiamei.
Okay.
That's really good advice. Very
Monica,
good advice.
you raise your hand, Monica.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Tisha, you're my inspiration.
Yay.
Oh, thank you.
I used to be a teacher, and after I become a teacher in elementary school, I switched my mind and I decided to not to put my son in a school. So every time I saw you, every time I see you, and especially also tonight, I become more and more spiritual and enthusiastic to raise my son, not in the school, Tricia, because I really can see clearly how my son will be as I see you. I can see how nice you're and how kind you are, how nice your attitude is, and I'm pretty sure that many students who go to school, probably in Indonesia especially, they won't be, probably some of them won't be able to bring themselves like the way you bring yourself in Agora. Why? Because maybe many of them can, but only those who go to expensive school. The fact is that many schools are not expensive. I mean, many students go to the just public school, and I think I'm really proud of you, Tricia, and I'm sure as Andrew say, you can go to London school, Tricia. Go, Tricia!
Oh my God! If anyone here lives in London,
she will set up her own school.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, okay, thank you. Well, then you'll be first on the lines of your ticket. Yes.
And you and the white duck. You and the white duck together will form a school, right?
Oh yes, Grace is coming with me. We're a whole package deal, and you cannot refuse this.
And if you need a guest
All
lecturer,
right.
if you need a guest presenter or lecturer, Bang Peng's you, man. No, I would be more than happy to ever speak to your group, your class, your school, whatever. Ways.
Wow. Oh man, thank you. And is it okay if I call you Tante Monica? Or Monica
Yes.
is also fine. Okay.
In our community, you used to call me Bibi Monique, right?
Bibi.
Bibi is like Tante, is auntie, right?
Auntie, Bibi.
Monica is
I
just
see.
don't call
Okay.
her.
Right, okay.
I met Tricia in homeschooler community.
Kakak Monica.
Wait. Oh, okay.
Suka-cita belajar, Tricia.
Kakak Tricia, kakak.
Oh my God. Hold on. What a small world. Oh, I see. That's why. Okay. I was trying to put 2 and 2 together because a couple of days ago, Bibi Monica also texted me through WhatsApp. And I was actually trying to think, hold on, I feel like I've met her somewhere as well, not only in my homeschool community. And and then we meet here. Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding that.
You're welcome, Tricia.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we have come to the point. Is there anybody else who wants to speak other than the man himself? Anybody who wants to speak? No? Well, finally, the moment we've all waited so long for. I know I've waited 6 months for this since I joined the group, and all night long I've been waiting for this. Mr. Bang Peng himself, the awesome godlike leader of our group, and he is going to speak finally. Yeah. And Mr. Timer, give him a minute to introduce himself.
I think he'll need 5.
No, well, he probably used 10, but and then don't forget you're timing him 7 minutes. But if he goes over, don't worry about it because it'll be all useful, good stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Over to you, my friend.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, David. Thank you, Tricia. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ita. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to host all of you, and I thoroughly enjoy every single speech and even the feedback. I'm continuing to learn from all of you, so it's a tremendous privilege to be with all the superstars in this room. Today I want to share with you something magical that I experienced, and the reason is I think all of you can experience the same magic, and you can also share this magic to all your friends and teachers and hairdressers and your neighbors and everybody else. So that's what I'm going to speak to you about. But before I start speaking, raise a hand. Raise a hand if you like to have more friends, better friends, and better relationship with all your friends. Very good. Now, one more. Raise a hand if you want to have more time, quality time to spend with your loved ones. Wonderful. Raise your hands if you want to live the life you dream of. Thank you very much. My friends, today, when people meet me in Agora and outside, they always tell me, Ban Peng, you are so blessed. You have a business going, you have money to spend, you can do whatever you like. Every morning you wake up, you have more money in your bank account than the night before. And I am truly blessed, and that is truly what the life I'm dreaming of. And I want to tell you a secret. It has not always been like this. 35 years ago, I was living from hand to mouth. I could barely feed myself. And I was so ashamed of my situation, I dare not tell my parents. Each time they ask me, I'm in Singapore, trying to earn a living. They are in Malaysia, right? We grew up in a very poor family, and my parents are not educated and they don't have much money and they are depending on me to help them. So each time I talk to them, I always tell them I'm doing very well, wonderful. Whatever you need, just let me know. Even when I don't have much money, I will send them money. And they thought I'm doing well, where in fact I'm just struggling from day to day. Now, I used to wake up very early in the morning before the sunrise, and I go to work. And I work the whole day, and then when I come home, all my neighbors are asleep already. The sun has set long ago. And I do that not for one day or 1 week or 1 month or for 1 year. I do that year after year after year after year. And my life was very miserable. And when I go out to ask people to give me some business, most of them won't even bother to talk to me. Right? And of those who will talk to me, they always ask me 100 questions. Who are you? Right? Why would I give the business to you? And it was really miserable. I cannot describe to you when you are not in that position before, you don't know how people look down on you. They don't respect you. When you don't have money, you don't groom yourself. And even when I'm taking a bus, in those days, I got to check carefully. Is the bus air conditioned or is that the normal bus without the air condition? But today in Singapore, all the buses are air conditioned. But in those days, if you take the non-air conditioned bus, it's warm, it's humid, it's sweaty, but I save 5 cents. So I always wait for that non-conditioned bus, right? And when I get a business, it's always people asking Mr. Gay, if I give you the business, my accountant is charging me $200. How much will you charge me? I had to charge a lower price. And then, oh, my accountant, I owe him 3 months, 6 months. How long is the credit term? So I always get the least paid and the longest credit term. And my staff are never happy with me because I couldn't communicate very well with them. Maybe I don't give them the right instruction, or maybe I'm so poor, I cannot hire highly qualified people to work for me to do the job. So the staff is not happy with me because errors need to be corrected and need to be rushed. And the clients are not happy with me because there's delay in the work, there's error in the work. Nobody is happy with me, but I'm working day and night so that I just feed myself, but nobody is happy with me. But something happened 30 over years ago. One of the staff working for my client's office said, Mr. Gay, would you like to join me? I'm going to not a public speaking club, it's a Toastmasters meeting. So I was imagining I'm going to have a happy time drinking with my friends. But at the end up, I pick up some public speaking skills, communication skills, and that changed my world. Today, because of better communication, I'm able to get more business with less effort. I can get more things done in less time. And my clients are happy with me. My staff are happy with me. Everybody is happy with me. It's all because of one thing: better communication skills. And it's so important that I cannot overemphasize this. All of you or all of us got to continue to learn to speak better, to project the right image. And there are certain things you do, certain things you cannot do, right, as a professional. So the moral of the story is just like that. Learn to communicate. And the guy who introduced me to this Toastmasters 35 years ago, his name is David Cheong. And because of this one person inviting me to a Toastmasters club, and because I put in the effort to learn, my life has changed completely. It's not only my own life has changed. More important, the life of my wife, my children. In fact, I wouldn't have a wife if I didn't join Toastmasters and train my public speaking skill. So, but they are the real beneficiary. Your loved ones are the ones who benefit. And then now I ask you, is there a David Cheong in your heart? Ask yourself that. Right? This is a guy who introduced me and it changed my life. But I can tell you, there is also a David Cheong living inside me. So when I meet people, I invite them to Agora. Right? I want them to learn, to network, to communicate, and their life can change. And raise your hand if there's a David Cheong in your heart. Raise your hand. Tomorrow, when you go out, you meet your hairdresser, your taxi driver, your food vendor. Talk to them about Agora. You never know how you can change this person's life. Can you do that? Please do that. Tell them about Agora and tell them, please just enjoy the public speaking, enjoy the fellowship. The skill, the improvement will come automatically. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You're awesome. You're awesome, sir. Fantastic. God bless you. Or Jade Emperor or whoever. Oh, who wants to review that? Anybody?
I'll start as a timer. It was a little bit longer than the 7 minutes allowed.
I told you.
Count your words.
Only 8 minutes and 12 seconds. It was well within time because it was such good value. No, I think when we share stories that are personal, people want to listen. And I think that's really important when we deliver our own speeches. Yeah, make them personal. Don't make them theoretical out of a Harvard textbook. They're boring. Anybody can read the textbook. But to really look inside of ourselves and share that with others is really what makes a big difference. But as we have just seen, Ban Peng is a master at public speaking, and he delivered it really well. So I can't criticize anything he did, even though I'd love to try, but it was really good. It was a great speech.
Thank you. Thank you.
I saw, I think, Chloe, did you raise your hand? Want to make a comment?
I clapped.
Oh, you clapped. Okay, no problem.
Oh, okay.
I have a quick comment. When I first came to Toastmasters, I just got a job as a salesperson. It was my first ever official job as a salesperson. So I bought 3 books about it. All 3 books recommended joining Toastmasters. And I thought, what is this Toastmasters? I've never even heard of it before. I attended my first meeting, loved it, and I was soon a member of 3 clubs. And what I found that I learned most about Toastmasters is every speech, you learned a little slice of somebody's life, slice of their pie of their life. And the more speeches you heard about from that person, the more and more and more you got to learn about them. And I soon found out that if you gave a speech about, I gave a speech once about the US economy and how things were spent. And I didn't personalize it at all. There was no connection other than we were all taxpayers. And I thought at the end of it, that wasn't a good speech at all. Nobody really smiled, laughed, or anything. But then when I gave a speech about, getting my first car and getting my first ticket in Manchester, people were laughing, people were smiling. They were happy to hear about that first ticket in Manchester. I was like, good, all right, here we go. So then I converted almost all my speeches from that point forward, including professional speeches about single professional topics, into personal speeches. So when I talked about Mars at the Mars conference, I made it personal. So I started with the crater on Mars, which had a smiley face on it. I said, look, even Mars is smiling at us right now. Everybody in the room laughed, and then it was a piece of cake. So that's I'll second that with Mike, and I'll second that with what Bang Peng just said. Third it with Bang Peng just said, make your speeches as personal and related to you as you can, and then it'll relate to the audience. Might not relate to all the audience all the time, but they'll enjoy it anyway because it's a story. As was said earlier about my story speech. Anyway, so I think Bang Peng's speech, awesome, awesome, awesome. You've refreshed the reason why we joined Toastmasters and joined Agora. And Agora is better because it's great to hear 16 speeches rather than 3 speeches and then grammarian and our counters and God knows what else and report about what's going on world headquarters, all that fluff. Speaking and review the speaking, that's what it's all about. And unless you practice your speaking skills, you won't get any better. And if you don't practice your speaking skills, it'll become worse. Because my earliest Agora speech, I hadn't spoken for almost 2 years, and it was terrible. But now I feel back to my A game, if you like, which is good. I'm really happy about that. Yeah. So thank you, Bang Peng, and you are my David whatever. So, all right.
Thank you. I think Brian raised his hand. Let's.
Before you start, I'd just like to make a clarification on David's speech. When he was talking about his car and getting the first ticket, that was not a good thing. That's a police fine ticket.
No, but it was an amusing story. So, you know, he's laughing about it. He hasn't even heard the speech, so can't be too bad.
Brian, floor is yours.
All right, thank you.
Brian.
And Bampen, I know you for so many years. I always know you are an excellent communicator, face-to-face, one-to-one. And today is the first time I actually hear you making a presentation in front of everybody. And that was awesome. I thank you for that. And I finally get to actually see one of your speeches, and it's so positive and so meaningful that everybody need to be talking about what we're doing here to everybody that we came across. That reminds me of a professor I met a few years back in Taiwan. And at that time, he was already a full professor in a university, but he joined Toastmasters. And people ask him, gee, Professor Liu, you've been speaking all your life. Why do you join an organization of speaking? And he was like, I'll give you the answer 5 years later. So 5 years later, someone asked him the same question. And he has this. He said, 5 years ago, all my students respected me. 5 years later, they love me. So Bampen, we love you for what you do to Agora, to Toastmaster, to this group here. Thank you for putting this together for all of us. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. If you can spare me a few more minutes, I would like to share with you the philosophy behind setting up Agora Singapore. The background is Brian and I, we go back many years as Toastmaster. Brian is a leader in Toastmasters, was a leader. I don't know whether he is still in the Toastmasters movement, but he was very high up in the Toastmasters movement. And we met at the conferences in America, Canada, various parts of America. And the reason why I started Agora was I felt public speaking and leadership, while Toastmasters do focus on that, many of my friends, they went through the Toastmasters process, but I'm one of the few who actually enjoyed the benefit. Many of my friends, they have won many trophies, many speech contest trophies. If you go to your house, the whole wall is full of trophies. Many of them have all kinds of titles, whether it's competent Toastmaster, advanced Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, many times. Many of them has been club president, area governor, division governor, district governor, whatever. Many of them. They are all my very dear friends, very good friends. We do a lot of things together. But one thing didn't change for them. They didn't get the job they want. They didn't get the promotion they want. They didn't get the business they want. After all the accolades, the titles and praises they receive, And they receive a lot of them. Each time they go up to the stage and they speak, many people clap hands and they walk away with trophies and certificates and stuff like that. But their life didn't change a single bit. They go back to the same life. On stage, they are heroes. But off stage, they are just another person without anything. Right? Whereas for me, I have managed. I can get more business. I can get better paying jobs. I can get people to help me working very hard. Sometimes even like I'm attending Agora like now. Sometimes in my office, there are still people working very hard. Okay, so what is the message? The message is there is a purpose. There is a purpose when we attend a public speaking communication program. The purpose is to change our life. We must communicate in order to get the job you want, to persuade people to do things they otherwise would not do, to get the promotion you want, to change your life. And it is not just to boast to people that I've got this title, I'm a president, I've got this title, I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, I've got this and that. But in the end, what changed? Right? So each of us, when we are communicating, we got to go back to the very basic. What we want is a better job, a better business, better friends, meaningful relationship. I've seen many of my friends, masters of communication, all kinds of certificates, but their relationship failed. One marriage after another, it keep on failing. So where's the communication skill? Right? And that's the thing that we want to make a difference, not only for ourselves. The real beneficiary are our loved ones. They are the ones who enjoy the fruits of our training, our processes that we go through year after year after year. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah,
Raise
absolutely.
Hands, right? Yeah, that's what we are all about when we are meeting here. Thank you.
I would say the White Duck and Trisha, you better be listening to this guy and what he says, because you two, especially you two, have the most to benefit from everything that you hear in this group. And I've been a Toastmaster since 2006, and I was a Toastmaster in 10 clubs in 3 countries. And in each and every club, I would say there would be one universal thing. And that is the person or people that think that Toastmasters is an end to itself, which is what DTMs and competitions and world speech competitions and all the rest of that and district meetings and all that is all about. The Toastmasters is the most important thing about Toastmasters. Whereas Agora is more about speaking, learning, improving, and the friendship between all the Agorians. I like talking to all of you, and I like hearing from all of you. There's not one that I go, oh my God, Mike's doing yet another evaluation. Although you might think that of me because I speak too much, but anyway. You know, it's so unique. It's so great. This is like Toastmasters being turbocharged and improved. But one thing I will say about Toastmasters, which I benefited from a lot, is that of all the business groups, associations, community groups, everything else that I've ever been a member of, until this point in time at least, Toastmasters led to the most business opportunities of any group I was with, because I went and talked and asked and find out, you know, people would come up to me, David, can you help me with this, that, the other? And I go to other people and say, yeah, can I help you with this and that, the other? And that's another key point and piece to what we have here, because we're giving slices of our life and everything, and we all need help in some area or other, whatever it happens to be. So, because we're humans can't be alone. They can't be isolated and everything. We need help. Some more desperate than others, but as the case may be. And yeah, some of my best friends are still Toastmasters, and have known them for many, many, many years. And people who've left Toastmasters, but I stayed on and stuff like that, I still stay friends with them. So this group of Agora, I believe, is even better and stronger in that relationship too. And I attended my first Indian youth Agora meeting since the last time we met, which was so funny. All the second graders and third graders and fourth graders doing really complicated speeches and stuff. I'm going, what? Yeah, it's unbelievable, unbelievable, because we treat people, as individuals, and that we can all express ourselves and how we feel about things. It's not a matter of age, it's not a matter of experience. It's a matter of bravery and courage to get out and speak your mind. So, and that's what we encourage and support. So, and then the ability to, I like what you said there, Bang Pang, about your ability to change the direction of your life by embracing what we're doing and learning here. It's really, really good, strong stuff. Because it's easy to forget that you can do that. You know, so.
Okay, Andrew raised his hand.
I have only 3 points to mention. I agree with Ban Peng. Communications, communion, and connectivities are very important, these 3 C's. When you can communicate, you can commune well, and you have connectivity well. If those who know my history, 16 years ago, it took me 6 years of pain to learn in Toastmasters public relations, how to clear my name publicly. And today, we are free from all the unnecessary criticism, unnecessary miscommunication, and malicious comment. Toastmasters give a very good foundation. I remember Ban Peng, 2010, when somebody come to Singapore, I stood up and bravely spoke about it because of public relations skill I had learned in Toastmasters. And I supported Ban Peng, remember, at the Padang, together with Thai men, Thai district governor, speak very courageously, communicate correctly, and clear the air very clearly. I think Ban Peng knows what I'm talking about at the Padang. For myself, I stood up for myself and publicly mentioned it 10 years ago. Today, my family live in peace. My daughter, my family are well respected in the community. I think we talk about it some other time in detail. If I can share you real life experience, how communications, communion, and connectivity work together, the 3 C's. Good night.
Andrew, make that your next speech. Andrew is a very courageous man, a very committed person, a very knowledgeable person, and he has been through fire. He has been through very, very difficult, challenging situation, and he overcome all those things. And I really, one person I admire, that would be Andrew. He's an amazing person. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us.
And he's my fellow anti-American.
I don't think Donald Trump will like me if I speak to him. I spoke the prophecy very clearly. I don't think he like it. 2020, May.
Thank you. Okay, actually, I got a lot of things I want to share with you, but now may not be the best time. We will find another time. Now, I have a program. It's all pro bono. Sorry. It's called Sleep and Grow Rich. Okay, basically, it's a program where I share with friends about my lessons that I've learned and how you can benefit from the lessons that I've learned, because I've been through really very difficult, very challenging time, and I survived and I thrived and I've succeeded. So there are many things I learned that you should not have to go through the same learning curve. I can transfer my experience, and you can learn what I've learned in many, many years of suffering. You can learn in like one session, for example. So if you want, you drop me a WhatsApp message. I can form a group, a new group, because I got a few groups that they're at different stages of development. So we can all learn together. Okay, if you're interested, drop me a WhatsApp, then I'll set up a group for that, and we do it by Zoom, no issue. Thank you.
Okay, I just sent you a message, Bampang, so sign me up.
Okay, good. Whoever, just I'm happy to share, because it's these things that I've learned, the experience I've been through, the knowledge, the wisdom, the insights. If I don't share, I'm going to take it to the grave with me. So it's better I share with all of you. It has got no value where I'm going. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay,
awesome,
is there
awesome.
anything else anybody wish to discuss?
Anybody like to speak, or? Yes.
Oh, Peter has not spoken. Peter?
Tarata raised up his hand.
Oh, Tarata, where are you, Tarata?
My God, guys, I'm mind blown. Like, seriously, like, every one of you are just amazing. I'm really blessed to have been here today. So I really like decided just to sign up for the meeting, and now I don't regret it. I'm really mind blown. Really seem like brilliant speakers, and all of you are just amazing, and can't wait. Seriously, guys, you can't understand how much I'm mind blown right now. And all of that is in a supportive environment. I'm really thankful to be here with you guys, and wow, I don't have the words, like, seriously. Thank you. Thank you, I guess. Thank you is great. Thank you, like, seriously.
Thank you so much for coming to the meeting, because you did contribute yourself. So very, very good. And we were very blessed and happy to hear from you and your speech. Very good. So, and hopefully you're going to sign up for the meeting next week.
Is that
or next time?
Week?
Sorry, not next week.
No, the next meeting.
Whenever it is.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Whenever the next meeting is.
Peter Woon, you log in, but Peter, would you like to speak to us? Have not seen you for a long time.
Hello, good evening. Yes, yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Peter is from
Hello,
Bintulu, if I remember correctly, is one part of Malaysia, right?
Yes.
Sarawak somewhere.
Yeah, in East Malaysia, Sarawak. Yeah, and great to be back here. I was quite occupied for the past few months, and finally tonight I thought maybe I could join Bampang's.
Yeah, we missed you. Have not seen you for months.
And his speech never disappointed of mine when I was at
Peter,
Master
your video
back in 2018.
Your sound is breaking up, Peter. If you're going to do a speech, you probably
let me off my.
There you go. Off your video. Okay. All right. So, Peter, when you're ready.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Timer, when you're ready.
Yes. Okay.
I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah.
I think there's a
okay. I will maybe touch on the topic of silence is golden. It's good. Probably I will speak in the next few occasions.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Thank you again for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Welcome. Okay. There's a reason why I put Chloe in the spotlight. I think this is a much better visual than the earlier when you were delivering your speech. So you learn very fast. Straight away you adjusted. And do you all agree? This is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good. This is good. Well done. Okay. We are coming to the end of the session. Those who want to speak have spoken. Those who wish to speak more, you can raise your hand. If there's anything you want to share, any announcements, anything you want to say, this is a chance before we sign off. Okay.
I just wanted to say that, Su Meng, you're looking very nice today. I love your outfit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trisha.
Su Meng is always so gorgeous.
Except when I was speaking earlier, apparently I did not smile at all because I was so intense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trisha.
Yeah, now
you were
you're
so
looking a lot
intense
better.
that
Now
everyone
you're
here
smiling.
became speechless.
Oh, okay. I think Taratra raised his hand again. Taratra, you want to say something?
Yeah, I raise my hand too often, I guess. So I'm really thankful for today. I mean, like all of this experience, all of this knowledge, and I'm really thankful for all that. And I'm in love with you guys, and I can't wait to meet you next time. And thank you so much for today. And all of you, you were really great. I mean, mind blown. I have no words. Thank you.
Thank you, Taratra. We are very happy to have you with us. And we enjoy your speech, and it shows your great desire to improve. This is your first speech, and already you are very comfortable. You are speaking with confidence, and that's the most important part. Is just to enjoy speaking. I remember a book I read. I don't know, have any of you read this book called The Power of One? Right? And it's written by one Australian guy. Now I forgot the name. Anyway, in the book, there was this, it's about this little boy. And one of the part that I remember very clearly was his mom wanted him to learn to play the piano. And he was like maybe 7, 8 years old. And so the mom fetched him there in the car and introduced one old man who is a piano teacher to him. And then he asked, so, okay, where do we start? And the man started playing and singing, and but didn't teach him anything. So in the end, the man said, the first thing in music is to enjoy music. The rest will flow naturally. Whereas some teachers, they are so focused on, for public speaking, for example, body language, vocal variety, structure, I don't know, whatever, good English, good pronunciation. In the end, they forgot the purpose of communication, right? And a person, I met a lady whose pronunciation, whose English is horrible, but she's a champion salesman for an insurance company. She makes a lot of money. She closes a lot of cases. And to me, that is a good communicator. The guy who win all the speech trophy but cannot get any single sale, to me, is a failure. No matter how good your body language, your vocal variety, you jump up and down on stage and whatever, if you cannot have more friends, you cannot maintain or build or nurture or maintain a relationship, that's horrible communication. Don't tell me what qualifications you have as a Toastmaster or whatever, right? So that is the thing is, number one, to enjoy just the process, the learning process. Once you enjoy, the skill will develop by itself. As you speak more, you will learn, right? And then always remember, the purpose is not to win a contest. The purpose is to win the race of your life. Is to get the job you want, to get the promotion you want, to have the friends you like to have, to build better relationship. It's not about winning a trophy or getting a certificate to hang on the wall and stuff like that. Okay, thank you, my friends.
You know, that's an interesting thing, Pang Pang.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Trisha, before I start
No.
Get on my soapbox again?
I guess I just wanted to say that Ban Ping is truly a huge inspiration to me. And I think I can also say to everyone here as well, when you said for us to enjoy public speaking, to not focus on the competition because we're only racing against ourselves, this reminded me of the quote that I heard one time. It went somewhere along the lines of, the only person you are competing against in this race is with yourself. And it's in the race of life. I think it's something that's very important and dear to my heart, because the more you grow up, the more that you look around in your surroundings, you know, and you start comparing yourselves to how other people are much better than you and how you could do better than them. And it just becomes this whole meaningless competition of trying to become over the top, like top what do you say, like much better than someone, when in reality we need to focus on ourselves. What's important is not being better than someone else, but are we a much better person than who we are yesterday? And that's something that I am doing my best to remember. I know this whole concept and I'm trying to change my mindset into this, but it's still a process. But thanks to Ban Ping, I'm always reminded of all the great things and how to live on with the desired life that you want to have. And that's why I think Ban Ping is truly an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Tricia.
Pang, you just reminded me of my own career and some of my career highlights. Quick story. In 2005, I did 2004 actually, I did a presentation to the top layer of Mopar division of Chrysler. And Mopar is the parts division of the Chrysler Corporation, as was. And I was doing a presentation on how we should replace the current cataloging system with a brand new system using new software, new techniques, new streamlined processes and everything that would cost $250,000 and take 6 months to implement. And I was doing a live presentation to all the executives of the organization. I nailed it. I absolutely nailed it. The reason I nailed it was, at the time, the Chrysler Corporation, you had to ask permission to get a post-it note, a stack of post-it notes out of the closet for your desk. Anything you wanted, you had to get permission for from management. And there was a cap on orders that they could place. $250,000 was way above the cap back then. And so it was 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving, if you know American businesses, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, everything shuts down. But a week after Thanksgiving, my exec within my building for Mopar, the chief of Mopar in my building, came up to my desk and he said, "David, come to my office for a minute." I was like, "Okay, no problem." He came, I sat down in his office and said, "Well, David, I've got some news to tell you. We had an executive meeting this morning and we decided to go with your system. The finances aren't going to be available until February, but we still want you to deliver in July. Can you do it?" I said, "Well, now you tell me that this is going to happen. We'll start things rolling without the money, but you've got to follow with the money because our supplier is going to start work on this, but we will start work today and we will deliver it on time." And we ended up delivering it $3,000 under budget and 1 day early, the project. And I was all set. So there's a long story there. When I got laid off 3 years later, I was laid off on March 31st, what was it, 2006. Our supplier was in Australia, and my supplier wanted me to let me know what was going on with the meeting that I had scheduled when I got laid off. So I called her up that evening and left a message for her, but I didn't know she was on vacation. 2 days later, she called me up at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday night in America She said, David, yeah, sorry to hear about your job loss and everything. Would you like to work for us? I was like, sure, great, thank you very much. We talked for a little bit. I got off the phone. My wife said, what's up? And I said, well, I've just got a new job with the Australians. She said, great, how much are you going to make? And I said, I have no idea because we didn't discuss it, but it's going to be more than zero, which I've got right now. And that was my best paying job, my most responsible job before I had to get laid off in 2008 due to the world economy collapsing and all sorts of other problems. But it just shows that if you have public speaking as a skill and you can turn your public speaking skill into your job and your career and pushing yourself forward, you can do very well with it. If you can't, then it's like, well, why the hell are you bothering putting in all this time and energy in public speaking? And time again, public speaking has rescued me, helped me, guided me through my career. And so Bang Pang is absolutely right. Listen up, Big White Duck and Trisha.
I love how we all agree to call Gracie Big White Duck now. I think she's away from her keyboard at the moment.
I have to learn what Big White Duck in Indonesian is, and then I can call her that.
Bebek putih. In Indonesia is
bebek is duck and putih white.
Bebek.
Duck white.
Bebek
white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bebek putih besar.
All right. Thanks,
Mike knows more Indonesian than I do.
I thought in Indonesian they use gedek or something like that for besar. Is it
bebek besar?
Is that another word?
Another word.
For big.
I think that's
not
big.
besar. They use another word. Is it
gede?
Gedek or something
gede.
Like that? Is it for big?
No, that's the Australian.
Gede.
Oh, that's
G'day, g'day.
G'day, mate.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad everyone, we are enjoying ourselves tonight. I think that's the most important. Yeah. The positive environment, the nurturing, supportive environment. That to me is the key, the fellowship, the sharing. Even if our public speaking skill don't improve, but our knowledge we gain from each other is still a lot.
Yes, and our appreciation of each other is also a lot. Because, yeah, I always say this is fantastic.
I was going to say public speaking is really just a tool. What's the real learning and the real value to us is how we gain self-confidence. And that gives us the confidence to go into places others dare to tread.
Wow.
So being more confident will help you in all sorts of areas. And the other thing that I found in life really useful is networking. Yeah, I think having a good network is so important. And that has a lot of value. I mean, I'm sure in Singapore, you've probably heard of BNI, Business Network International. Yeah, I was in the area. Sorry?
You have BNI here?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. There used to be about 20 or 30 groups in Singapore. No, I was leading 7 groups in Southeast England before I came to Indonesia. And when I came here, I was on the board of BritCham, and we were looking at things to offer our members as a benefit of British Cham membership. And I volunteered 2 things. One was BritCham Toastmasters Club, which is still running, but it's not BritCham anymore, it's just British. And the other one was BritNet, which ran for 9 years, every single Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock.
Wow.
And it was for free. I mean, BNI, I'm not sure what they're charging now, but I mean, when I was there, it was expensive. Yeah, I mean, you have to pay for a breakfast in the hotel every week. You are not allowed to miss 1 week. And you pay your subscription to BNI. Does anybody know BNI fees at the moment?
No.
Sumeng, no?
No, I don't. I was about to say that they start at too early an hour.
Yeah, but it's good.
6:30 a.m.
Yeah,
ungodly.
But seriously, it's the only time of the day that's really not in anybody else's way. Yeah, I mean, if you have a meeting at 7 o'clock, by 8:30, it's only 90 minutes. Yeah, you're gone. You're out of the door. So you can have in Jakarta, you can have a meeting at 9 o'clock and have finished BNI. But no, BNI is a great concept. Yeah, I mean, Dr. Ivan Meisner, who started it by accident, probably 40 years ago now, must be a billionaire probably. Yeah, BNI extremely successful. And as I run this as like I'm doing with Agora for free. Yeah, we used to get together. There were like 25 of us. We were, and the concept basically very simple, is you're looking for work for the other people in the group. So when you're out doing your business and you see an opportunity for somebody else, you connect that person with your member. And once I was in Mercantile Athletic Club in World Trade Center, and the manager of the American Chamber of Commerce, who was a friend, phoned up and she said, "Mike, I've got this guy from Australia visiting this morning. He's working for an American company who is setting up in Indonesia. Could you come and talk to him?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." I went down, I had a file of facts of the 24 members in my BNI chapter, and which was not BNI, I mean, it was BritNet. And we were having this discussion, the three of us, and I kept pulling out business cards, and I just put them into a pile in front of me. And at the end of the meeting, I said to the guy, I think these are maybe useful to you. And he looked through and his eyes just bulged out. He said, "Yeah, these are all of the people that I need to do business with, like insurance, like rent, like furniture, whatever, yeah, stationery." So again, his connection with me connected him to a lot of other people. And the real value is that I would only connect him with good people, because my reputation depends on them being good people. So I'm not going to put him in connection with somebody that's going to do a bad job. Yeah, so you've got this quality control in there, and that's really important. But networking itself is magical. And my I mean, BNI's motto is "Give us gain," and I've stolen it. I've been using it for 30 years of my own, but it is. You get with networking. I go into it with the expectation of not getting anything back. Yeah, so I give and then forget it. Yeah, forget it. But what always happens, it comes back, and maybe on a different route from a different person. But it always, because they know that you're involved in this network, they will give you leads, they will give you connections, or they will ask you questions. "Mike, do you know somebody that can do this or that?" And that drags you into the network. So discussion. But networking is so important. And I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, you think that meeting 7 o'clock in Singapore is bad. Try being the area director where you have to travel an hour and a half in Kent in the winter to get to a 7 o'clock meeting.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to leave home at 5:30 to get to the meeting. Yeah, but it was fun. But
So
it was
that's
an experience.
That's one good thing about Zoom meetings now. You can just roll out of bed and put on your virtual eyebrows and virtual lipstick and even like my mustache if I want to, and just ready to go.
Absolutely. That's why virtual meetings are not going to go anywhere. Yeah, I think we can. I mean, I'm seriously, it goes through my mind now and again. Don't tell anybody else. I really wonder whether Agora, we should not have face-to-face meetings, because virtual is so easy. Yeah, I think maybe we do face-to-face on special occasions Maybe we do a workshop on how to meet people face to face. And I think in Indonesia, by the time we get out of this pandemic cycle, we will have not been communicating properly for 2 years. I mean, it's like 15 months. I love the moustache. Let's do a photo quick. Everybody put that moustache on.
It suits you, Sumang.
But it's going to be, it's going to be an interesting transition, when we do have the opportunity to meet face to face. And particularly in Jakarta, some people travel 2 hours to work and 2 hours home at night. And then you invite them to a 7 o'clock meeting at night, to do Agora or whatever. They don't finish until 9. They don't get home until 11. Maybe the last train was 10:30. I mean, there are many, many problems. But anyway, hi, oh, wow, you've been to university.
I'm enrolling in Van Peng's university very soon.
No, I think the guys have to put on lipsticks.
Okay, here we have.
Hold on. I need to take a picture of that before it goes.
I think we have to do
oh no.
That one's probably more appropriate.
Oh my God.
This is a weird club.
How do you do that? How do you add those things?
Secret. When you go to choose virtual background, when you've got the stop video camera, next to it there's a little chevron. If you click the chevron, you've got the camera selection, but you've also got choose virtual background, and then you've got choose video filter and video settings. So this is choose video filter, where you can put things on your. I wondered where my pearls had gone. But no, I think
you're looking good.
It's going to be good. I just think. I think when we look back in 5 years' time at Zoom, we are going to laugh, because what we're doing now is funny, but it's so primitive. I think in 5 years' time, the technology will be there. You get a complete makeover, and it will be so good. So I think you can even have a haircut. I think in the future. Obviously, we do backgrounds now, but it will become much, much more sophisticated. And I think the Zoom meeting has still a long way to go.
Mr. David, still confused.
Taratra raised his hand.
He wants to try.
But I got natural glasses, natural beard, natural mustache, so I don't need anything else. I can grab a both.
David, you can put mortarboard on as well.
So I'm on the video settings screen. So where is it?
When you go down to stop video, the mute and stop video settings.
Yeah.
When next to stop video, there's a little chevron.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, click that, and then it opens up. And in the middle is choose virtual background.
Yeah.
And choose video filter.
I don't have a choose video filter.
Maybe you need to upgrade your Zoom, because I think the video filter came in about 6 or more months ago. But maybe you need to download the latest Zoom package.
Chloe. Van Peng looking suitably cool.
Oh yeah, Van Peng. All right. Swag game.
Oh yeah.
Very
cool.
David's so confused.
Oh, even Gracie's woken up.
Find it? Yay!
Hi, Gracie. Me down for dinner. I'm so sorry.
Hey, hi,
Oh.
little white duck. How are you?
Little
Great,
white
thanks. How have you been? It's been a while.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what do you got? Ito, what are you?
I'm a bean sprout.
A bean.
You're missing out, David.
A mung bean. A mung bean.
Oh my god, it's awesome. Oh, look at Sue Meng's the alien. Oh.
You're missing out, David. You really are.
Oh, here I am.
Have you found it?
No. I have to improvise. Put my little hat on. Beanie.
Wow. The most realistic out of all.
Creativity at peak.
Frame myself.
Oh,
David
my.
just none of us have that feature.
So David can sleep tonight. He's confused.
Yeah, he definitely. And Shenten is I don't know what planet Earth, Europe, and space. Hey, welcome back. Oh, Bang is really. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Angelic.
Yeah.
He's very holy.
Totally.
Holy Van Pang.
Your holiness.
Oh, the saint.
Saint Ben Peng of Singapore.
Simon Ben Peng.
Yeah.
Bless you, my son. Bless you.
Roger Moore. Oh God, Roger Less was like, oh dear.
Van Peng descends from the skies.
Yeah.
And I would definitely believe that.
Oh boy.
David,
Oh,
try
well,
your Zoom.
yeah, well, I'm not going to until after the meeting. I don't want to miss any of this. So
I think you can do it while
screenshot.
We can just Photoshop.
Everybody.
I know what I can do.
On.
Everybody pose and put on the.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Let's do a tiny Zoom.
I can do this. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry,
my God.
I really can't right now. All of you really seem to be having fun.
Change your photo.
Oh no. I think it's because you're on phone.
How's that?
No good.
Everyone choose the red bandana.
Red bandana.
Put something appropriate on. Appropriate. Screenshot.
Well, if you all did the
red
you know what the red bandana is, though, don't you? You know the red bandana is Rosie the Riveter from World War II.
Ooh, I see.
I can take a photo. If everyone's ready, I'll take a screenshot.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Mike,
Smile.
Mike and Peter. Peter has a red hat.
Everybody rejoining.
1, 2, 3.
Wait.
Everyone is so sexy today. Thank you.
One more time.
All right, hold on. Let me send it to the group chat first so I don't lose it. All right, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Say Ban Peng. Nice.
All right.
Awesome.
Actually, we can post this on Instagram.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Don't forget, this whole thing is going on YouTube, okay?
Yeah, that's great. No problem.
Okay, I will end recording here. I will end recording. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the recording.
Oh, this
Disaster.
Great job.
Disaster. Chaos caught on
Stop
tape.
recording. Okay.